Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I am joined, ladies and gentlemen, by the birthday boy himself, Matt Turner. Happy birthday, many happy returns. How have you enjoyed your big day?
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. So far, so good. A busy day. Up early to the gym. A lot of running around to do. A lot of stuff. Trying to get caught up on one of the many podcasts we have right here, Rob, going on the World of Joshi podcasting network. But as soon as we get done recording, my wonderful wife is going to take me out to a lovely dinner to this nice little Italian restaurant that we tend to go to on my birthday. But no, my man, can't complain. Can't complain at all. We're like in the middle of a heat wave. Considering the fact like 3 weeks ago it was kind of snowing in certain parts of the area. Now we're in the middle of a heat wave. But no, brother, can't complain. Nothing. I kind of figured since I'm podcasting on my birthday, for all your YouTube viewers, I had to break out the big guns. It's always a good day when you believe in Tam. I have a feeling, and by a feeling, a great feeling that my wife will make me change, as I'm sure she will not let me wear a Tam Nakano bright purple shirt to dinner.
Damn right, and more power to her, to be perfectly honest. I must admit, so a little bit behind the scenes, Matt watched the Korakuen Hall show that we're going to be talking about before me, and which is unsurprising, I imagine, to anyone that knows us. But he sent me a message saying I'm finding it really hard to focus on this card because of the offensive shirt in the front row, or on the hard cam, sorry. And I must admit, I was looking for a Tam shirt. I was like, there's going to be someone with a Meltier shirt or something like that, but alas, no.
Yeah, I was like, how about that? I'm trying to watch the insane Soripoi entrance because they did the entrance together. We don't see that as much as we have.
So much aura.
And I don't know if it's a drone or they just have the camera hovering, but I've noticed the last
really
like 7
well
or 8
done,
Korakuens. I'm like, man, that's awesome. And they're doing their entrance, and that was like, oh, the match started because I'm too busy. And I'm sure if you've seen this Korakuen show, there is a gentleman in the 4th row, dead center on Harncam, that has a t-shirt, and I guess more power to you, sir, that you literally just couldn't. I was missing finishes, and usually I'm so locked in on wrestling, like my house could be on fire. I'm like, oh wait, hold on, I'm trying to finish this Ricky Steamboat Rick Rude match, but I'm like, I couldn't really focus on certain things because of this gentleman's fancy or non-fancy shirt. I'm sure, again, you all know, if you've seen this Korakuen show, which I hope you have because it was great, and of course we're going to review it, but if you've seen this show, you probably know what I'm talking about, because there was a lot of people talking about it on a Sunday night going into Monday morning, because I didn't get to see this show live until I didn't get to watch the show until about 24 hours after it aired. And I was like, what are people talking about? I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it was quite aggressively on the hard cam. Once you saw it, once you picked it up, and we will say, I'm not going to say it in full, obviously we'll get demonetized, but it's a big FU shirt. Which
you don't mean the John Cena finisher.
Yeah, not the John Cena finisher. But yeah, it's right on the hard cam, and yeah, once you pointed it out, I didn't pick it up until was it the kid match? It might have been the Starlight Kid match. I didn't pick it up till then. And then it was all I could focus on. I was like, what's that guy doing now? What's he doing now? But yes, anyway, that being said, what will be your meal of choice from the Italian tonight, Matt? Are you like me, where you go to a restaurant, you know what you're having straight away because it's the same thing you've had there for 25 years? Or are you someone that likes to sample the menu, sort of stretch out and check other things out?
I think we only go there. We used to go there a couple times a year, but I think it's now once a year for my birthday. It's the only time where it's just like you get to pick where you go. Usually it's like, yeah, and I don't I'll eat anywhere. I don't care. I'm not really. I try to eat clean, especially bikini season's coming up, buddy. I'm trying to look fit, trim and fit. But usually what I'll get is this thing called a chicken trio, where it's chicken marsala, one piece of chicken marsala, one piece of chicken that's got like goat cheese like stuffed in between,
yeah.
and then one that's got chicken and I believe prosciutto. I believe it's called the chicken trio. So that's my usual go-to. But I'll take a look at the menu, Robert Goon. I'll take a look, and I'll maybe fancy some things around. My Amber did just tell me a little bit ago that my sister-in-law, her sister, She was at this restaurant last week, and on Tuesdays they have a flight of sangrias, which is Amber's go-to drink. So that's yes. So I might have to be driving home because my wife really doesn't have much of a tolerance. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens, buddy. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned right here next week, folks.
I love the fact that you might join the club of myself and Andy Zyke as people that have got your wife drunk, which is always good fun. Is always good fun. But yes, we are not necessarily on a clock, but we've got a lot to talk about, and obviously we want to get Matt ready for his date night, his birthday date night. Exactly.
I'll say this: nothing else I'd rather love doing than than talking to you about professional wrestling on my birthday. So thank you for this birthday gift.
You're more than welcome, my friend.
Appreciate
You're more than welcome.
I'll send a check to your house.
I would hope so. We'll discuss the details afterwards, man. It's fine. But we have got two shows to talk about. We're going to be talking about the show in Gunma. We're also going to be talking about the latest Korakuen Hall show, which is the final Stardom show before their pay-per-view Queen's Dynasty, which is coming up on Saturday, the 23rd of May. We now have a full card for that show. We now have a match that's just been taken off that card ahead of that show. So we'll be talking about all of that. We'll be talking about the pick'ems. We'll be talking about Hazuki in AEW. We'll be talking about Rian in Pro Wrestling Wave and her start to the Catch the Wave tournament, as well as a load of other bits and pieces of news, as well as giving you our preview for Wrestle Dynasty and a birthday tenable for Matt at the end of the show as well. But Matt Turner, before we get to all of that, good sir, why don't you tell the lovely people at home what is coming up on the World of Joshi Patreon this week?
This past weekend, we dropped my full review of Victoria Yuzuki's run in last year's Dreamstar Grand Prix. In my opinion, the 2025 Dreamstar Grand Prix MVP was Victoria Yuzuki, and a star-making performance. I think all of us that watch Marigold were like, she's right on the cusp. Like, she's right there now as main eventer. Obviously, she would go on to win the United National Championship about a month after the tournament. So that full review of all 8 of her matches, fantastic matches, is on your Patreon feed. And Rob, just yesterday, we did drop alternate commentary. And this one was a little bit of deep dive. So I went back to the 2024 Goddess of Stardom Tag League for Stardom. Soripoi, Soriano, and Natsupoi taking on the team of Crazy Tiger Girl, Suzuki, and Starlight Kid. I forgot what a great makeshift Neo Genesis team they were. A really fantastic match. So again, the Victoria Yuzuki run in last year's Dreamstar Grand Prix, that's on your feed, as well as the alternate commentary, audio and video of Soripoi versus Suzuki and Starlight Kid. That is on your feed. And more than likely, hopefully the third time is the charm. This is the third week in a row. Myself and Andy Header are going to try to record our fantasy booking. What if the Jumping Bomb Angels were inserted in current day Joshi? And I'm talking prime Jumping Bomb Angels, and they were freelancers. How would we book them? So hopefully that'll be on your feed this weekend as well, my friend.
Good. Well, that's always promising to hear. I'm really looking forward to hearing that. I just want to give a big shout out to Leoki, who recently became a brand new member of the World of Joshi Patreon. Thank you so much, Leoki, and to everybody else that supports us over at patreon.com/World of Joshi, where there is quite literally content on a daily basis, whether it is show reports, whether it is actual bonus episodes, whether it is the Pick'ems contest, which we'll be getting into in a moment, the Predictions League, all of those things over at patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. Matt, let's kick straight into the big news of this week in the world of Stardom, or at least one of the biggest bits of news, and that is that Stardom have announced the full card for Queen's Dynasty 2026, going to be happening on Saturday, the 23rd of May, in the Entrio Toyota Gosai Memorial Gymnasium in Aichi, Took me a while to get that out first time. But this is your full card, of course. We already knew that 5 of these matches would be happening. I know that one of them is no longer happening. We'll be talking about that in the next segment. But as they announced it, this was the card. World of Stardom Championship match, Sayaka Kurara making her first defense against Maki Ito. Wonder of Stardom Championship, Hanan making her first defense against B. Priestley. We've then got a World of Stardom #1 contendership 4-way, Starlight Kid versus Suzu Suzuki versus Maika versus Natsuko Tora. At the time, Goddesses of Stardom Championship match, it was O2 Line versus FWC. Future of Stardom Championship, Ronnie Yagami, the champion, taking on Kikyo Furusawa. We've also got a #1 contendership 3-way tag for the Artists of Stardom belts, Cosmic Angels, Natsuko Unimas, Morinai Sakura, taking on Godzai, Amisori, Hina, and Lady C. Mavida Loka, Rini Yamashita, Itsuki Aoki, and Akira Kuragane. We've then got 3-way Sayarita versus Hanako versus Xena. Sayori Ano and Fuwa-chan teaming against Saya Kamitani and Ruaka. Very much looking forward to that. Sayori in singles action against Kyoka Kotatsu, which is, of course, set up by the Korakuen Hall show we're going to be talking about shortly. And then your first tag match, Motoi Hamabe and Rian versus Emma Maishima and Waka Tsukiyama. So, Matt, obviously there have been a couple of changes to this card, which we'll be getting into in a moment. But honestly, as a follow-up to a fantastic show at All-Star Grand Queendom, this is shaping up to be a really, really exciting pay-per-view.
Rob, I don't want to jinx this, but I think we'll do pretty well in the predictions. I think we'll do at least half of them right. I feel pretty confident about that.
Is that our limit? Is that where we are? We're looking solely at half.
Well, last time I think I did 2 for 16 on the Marvelous show, and I think you did like 4. So
hey, I was third. I will have you know.
Right,
I might have only got 4, but I was third.
That's right, bronze medal, baby. What do I say? Sometimes you hold up that bronze medal in a certain light, it looks like gold. It looks
Hell
like gold.
Yeah, brother.
The show does look really good, and not only that, but a lot of moving parts, a lot of championship matches. And again, I know the match I was looking forward to the most is now scraped. We'll get into that in a moment. But not only a lot of championship matches, but we have 2 #1 contenders matches as well. So we know that once the show is over, we know at least 2 championship matches that we're going to be getting moving forward. And you're absolutely right. I mean, 8,000 they did in the last pay-per-view, Grand Queendom. They did over 8,000 people. How do you follow it up? A really solid card. And considering the fact that I think me, you, and a decent amount of our listeners thought that the main event of this show is probably going to be Saya Kamitani versus maybe Maika. And we're getting Maki Ito and Sayaka Kurara, and I'm almost as excited. I am really excited for it. I think I know how it's going to go, but the way they've been building it up, and we'll talk about these final 2 matches, our final 2 shows, going into Queen's Dynasty, they've done a really good job with it. Again, I think Hanan and B. Priestley has been the best built match for this show. I'm excited for this 3-way, this trios match we're getting for the #1 contendership for the artist belts. So again, all systems go. Everything looks really good, and I think Stardom knew it was my birthday because I believe it was just yesterday. It was officially announced Kyoko Kotatsu versus Shuri. I was like, that's my jam. That is my jam.
Very much your jam, that.
I'm super excited for that one. And that's another one. I feel like we can get the prediction right on that one. We get that one wrong, buddy. It's just, we might just close up shop at that point.
I mean, to be fair, I do like to think that there are quite a few, but with there being quite a few first-time defenses, obviously not O2 Line anymore. I can't see Sayaka Kurara dropping the title. I can't see Hanan dropping the title. I can't see Ron Yagami dropping the title either. There are, you are right to a certain extent. I think there are quite a few. I hesitate to say the word lock. This is pro wrestling after all, but especially as we head into 5-star Grand Prix season, I feel like we are sort of settled in what we've got. I know that we have got the Conversion coming up as the only pay-per-view between now and the 5-star Grand Prix. We don't have the Sapporo shows as pay-per-views. However, there is a doubleheader in the 5-star Grand Prix in Sapporo instead now. So the Conversion, well, we'll get into our predictions a little bit later on because I, my friend, have a theory. So we'll get into our predictions, and obviously we'll get into the pick'ems and the prediction league, which by the time this episode airs, the form will be available to all of our patrons, $1 and up. So keep an eye out for that. Very, very much looking forward to this match that's on our screen now. The three-way for the Artist of Stardom Championship #1 contendership match. I would honestly be happy with either of these three teams challenging Hate. I do think this one's sort of been telegraphed a little bit as well. But again, we'll get into that shortly. As we mentioned, unfortunately, one of the matches that won't be on the card is the Goddess of Stardom Championships match between O2 Line, Azumi and Miyu Wamasaki, and FWC, Hazuki and Koguma. Unfortunately, it was announced during today's press conference that Miyu Wamasaki was taken ill after the Korakuen Hall show and will be off cards for the next, did you say 2 weeks, Matt? Something like that?
I thought I read that really quick this morning. I thought they said she'd be missing something like 2 weeks as a precaution. So hopefully this one does get something that she just ill. We want to make sure she's okay and it's not something long term. When we run it back, maybe at a Korakuen, because I think this in the main event of a Korakuen.
Oh, it does numbers.
Give 20 some odd minutes would be great, because as great as this match is, and in my opinion, this was probably the match that was going to steal the show and the match I was looking forward to the most, which is saying something. As a loaded card, it would have gotten lost in the shuffle of the Wonder Belt and the World Belt, just because those belts are on such a high pedestal. So it could be a blessing in disguise, me silver lining, that maybe if we're taking this off Queen's Dynasty this weekend, and maybe you put it in the main event at a Korakuen Hall coming up in 3-4 weeks time, and then you give the full focal point to this match, because again, no disrespect to Hanan and B, who I love, and Sayaka Kuro and Maki Ito, which I love, I think this was going to be the match that was going to be the best match of the show. Again, we're not getting it. Hopefully it's at a Korakuen, it kind of gets its own big spotlight on it, and then we move from there, my friend. But yes, I thought I read that they're looking at Miyu just kind of resting up 2 weeks.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Obviously, we're wishing nothing but the best for Miyu Wamasaki, hoping she takes the time to return until she's fully fit and able. It's sort of the Io and Asuka argument, isn't it? I mean, obviously, people were, I think, rightfully up in arms that Io Sky and Asuka was not on the WrestleMania card, but actually they benefited from then being pushed to Backlash, where they got 18 minutes to tell the story, 18 minutes which they certainly wouldn't have gotten on either night of WrestleMania. So even though this would have been a really good match here, and I think it would have gotten time, I think where it is the central focus on a Korakuen, something like that, maybe they will run it back at the conversion. I don't know. But if they were to have it main event at Korakuen, and let's be perfectly honest, BMI 2000 did a great job of main eventing Korakuen Hall shows with those Goddesses of Stardom belts. I mean, just very quickly, and it was a number I was going to get into when we talked about the Korakuen Hall show, Stardom average nearly 1,300 in Korakuen this year, which is mad. Their average at the moment in their entire run is 987 in Korakuen Hall, and a lot of that is based off the last 3 years, which is an astonishing number, really, when you consider it. But yeah, I think. Go on.
Not to interrupt you. So that number you just gave, 9 whatever, that's their full 15-year history in Korakuen?
That's their full. That's their full Stardom history in Korakuen Hall. They are averaging 987.
Keep in mind how many COVID, where you couldn't put that many people, and then for like 2 years, I think it was like 2 or 3 years, they wouldn't allow full people in Korakuen. So think about that. You know what I mean? Take that into consideration as well. So wow, that's.
I mean, we were talking.
Impressive.
We were talking earlier. They did 30 back-to-back shows where they topped 1,000 people, which is just, that's a staggering number for Stardom. And again, BMI 2000, big bully, heel champions, they were a huge part of that in Korakuen Hall. They were in big main events against the likes of O2 Line. And I think that should continue. Again, with gangbuster matches like this, I mean, who isn't going to want to see Azumi and Miyu versus FWC? Just quick question before we move on, Matt. Do Hazuki and Koguma win?
This weekend?
Well, if whenever this match is rescheduled for, do Hazuki and Koguma win?
Oh no, O2 Line just won the belts. I think they win this weekend to get a little more. Like Emma's looking at those lights, buddy. Emma's looking at those lights. But if this was like V5, V6, maybe I'm still I'm still on the Hazuki wins the white belt train, Rob, and now she's going to be on AEW TV. You're putting more steam behind her. All the Fua Chan stuff. Who's benefiting the most from it? Hazuki, because she's her trainer and her friend, and she's having matches with and against. So it's like, why aren't you pulling that string? But again, to answer your question, I think that once we do get this O2 line versus FWC Goddess match again, hopefully in a few weeks, I think it's O2 line's going to retain. I just don't see this giant 3 to 4 year buildup of O2 line finally winning the belts, and then they lose them in the V1. I think that would just be like
imagine Azumi, you've waited however long to get your hands on these belts. You got them at your 7th attempt, right? You're dropping them to Hazuki and Kagame, who've already won it 3 times, by the way. Whenever it happens, it's going to be an absolutely killer match. Just to fill you in on how this has changed the card then, basically the opening tag match, which had Matoi, Rian, Waka Tsukiyama, and Emma in it, that has been changed to a 3-way, with Emma Maishima replacing Miyu Amasaki in this non-title tag match. So I think you're absolutely right, Matt. Unfortunately, Emma Maishima is 100% looking at the lights in this. However, what a great opportunity for her. She had a great match at All-Star Grand Queendom, which, we don't talk about because of everything else that was on that card. Sayaka Karara is our World of Stardom champion. I'm not going to stop saying this. So, again, it's another great opportunity for her to, be in the ring with some of Stardom's heavy hitters, quite physically in the case of Hazuki. Just before I move on, Matt, just because I haven't got a graphic for it. Obviously, we know that Hazuki is now a part of the Owen Hart Cup. There's a lot of international movement for Stardom, which we are going to get into in a moment. Fantastic news for Hazuki. Obviously, we've also got Sari in the tournament as well. Hazuki's first round match, by the way, is against Persephone. If she wins that, she will face the winner of Alex Windsor and Willow Nightingale. However, Matt, unfortunately, I don't think Hazuki is getting past Persephone. AWR very, very, very high on Persephone, and rightly so. Persephone's absolutely fantastic. And again, on the other side, we have the potential of Sari and Athena, which, good Lord. Great stuff for Hazuki. Great exposure for her. She's beloved by Western fans, and her versus Persephone, when it happens, because obviously Persephone's out with an injury at the moment, when that happens, that match is going to absolutely slap.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I'm super excited for the opportunity for Hazuki to be on, whether it's TBS or TNT, and then when they run it back on the YouTube channel, they're average a little over 1 million views plus HBO Max. So again, a massive exposure for Hazuki. She's going to hit it out of the park. She's had great matches with a lot of these wrestlers from CMLL. We've seen it with India Sue. We've seen it with Tabitha. So Hazuki's going to be fantastic there. I actually have Hazuki and Sari in my finals, Rob, in my dream finals. But now, realistically, I still don't know. Because I mean, obviously, everybody wants to see Sari and Athena, but I think maybe the biggest story is a Mina redemption. Very much how we know how the men's going to go. It's going to be Swerve and Ospreay in the finals. Ospreay wins, and then Ospreay's going to win the belt at Wembley. It's clearly there. It's the smartest thing to do. It's going to draw the most. It's going to draw the most money. Where if I'm looking on the women's side, like I think Mina almost has the similar fit of kind of like Will Ospreay. But again, I still don't know. I still have no idea what my predictions are. But regardless, yeah, Hazuki and Sari both in the Owen Hart tournament, along with these other great wrestlers, Athena, Mina, Persephone, Willow, Alex Windsor. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. AEW is firing on all cylinders. They're doing a great job with everything they have going on. This Darby Allin run is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think he's wrestling Mike Bailey this week, and then he's got the title, another match with MJF. So it's just, yeah, it's really AEW is really becoming one of, if not the best pure wrestling company going in the world today. And the fact that they're using their international partnerships with the MLL and now Stardom to really kind of just pull everything together is awesome. And again, a great opportunity for Hazuki and Sari to show the world what us Joshi fans know. They are two of the best wrestlers on planet Earth right now, my friend.
Obviously, with Miyu Amasaki out injured, she joins 3 other wrestlers who are now out as well. Stardom did announce before the Gunma show in Takasaki on the 16th that Ankanai and Meisera would be missing action. Maze through unspecified poor physical health. But Ankanai has had a plate taken out of her, I believe, her hand, which was the cause of her injury last year. She's out for around a month, according to Stardom. There's no full timetable for Mei Seira's return. Stardom also announced that Momo Kogo would be missing Queen's Dynasty. So we have got a fair number of talent out when you consider that Uriah Himi's still out. We have got Bozilla still out. Momo Watanabe out injured as well. So we wish all of these wrestlers a speedy recovery. And of course, that goes for Miyu Amasaki, who we spoke about earlier, Matt, as well.
Yeah, again, it's just it seems so many injuries going on in the world of Joe's Pure Wrestling. You know, Sari, what we talked about at nausea, with everything going on in the world of Marigold. So again, we hope everybody does. They come back at a when they're ready. Last thing, and we've seen it, and we've seen it in sports all the time in mainstream sports where somebody comes back a little bit too early because they the team needs them for some game, and then they're out the rest of the year. Or they're not really ever 100% or back to where they were. So again, we're getting into the summer months. We're getting the 5-star season. So hopefully this is right around the time that everybody gets healthy, because that is a grueling schedule. And the fact that it happens in the middle of the red hot summer, and some of those buildings, the AC, we've seen it before. The AC doesn't work as well as you'd like. Go back to the 2023 5-star with Mike and Soriano throwing water on each other. But yeah, we hope nothing but the best for these great Joshi Puro wrestlers.
Just want to remind everyone, our patrons out there, our predictions contest is coming up for Queen's Dynasty. It's a double header this week because, again, we have got Queen's Dynasty. We've also got Marigold's Shine Forever show and the Hana Kimura tribute show as well, all on the 23rd of May. We will be doing a predictions contest for both Queen's Dynasty and Shine Forever. So our patrons, keep your eyes peeled for those. Of course, you have got a chance to win for Queen's Dynasty and Shine Forever. They are separate ones, so make sure you enter both. And again, if you are someone who wants to enter the league and win the cumulative prize at the end, then you need to make sure that you enter every single one to give yourself the best possible opportunity. And of course, maybe you just want to enter and show me and Matt up, which, we help you in every possible way by being absolutely god-awful at these predictions. It goes some way to telling you just how bad I am when I did better on the Marvelous show than the Stardom that I watch week in, week out. So that goes to show just how poorly I do things, Matt.
Yeah, but we do it with such flair, Rob. When we're off,
we lose, but we lose well.
We lose well, buddy. We lose well. We do it with a certain style and pizzazz.
Absolutely,
pizzazz, my friend.
You look at us and you think nothing but pizzazz. But yeah, once this episode airs, ladies and gentlemen, the Queen's Dynasty form and the Shine Forever form will be live on our Patreon. If you want to join in the fun, it is easy. Go to patreon.com/World of Joshi. Sign up for the high speed tier, which is $1 a month or 25 cents a week, and you can join in on those predictions competitions. I'll be perfectly honest, they would already be up, but of course, Queen's Dynasty's card changed and I hadn't had time to adapt it. So they will be up by the time this episode airs. Something that was announced, speaking of international opportunities earlier, something out of completely nowhere that President Taro Okada announced during the Korakuen Hall show was a strategic partnership between Major League Wrestling in the US and Stardom. Now, obviously, we already know that Stardom has a strategic partnership in place with CMLL, and we have seen quite a few different talent swaps there. We've seen Hazuki and Kaguma go over to CMLL. We've seen Rina, who will be going over there in June, where she'll be facing India Seal for the CMLL Japan Women's Championship. We have seen, again, Dark Silhouette coming over, Olympia, India Seal, Tabata, all coming over. There has been quite a lot of talent sharing. It looks like that is going to be the case as well between Stardom and MLW, where they have said that there will be talent swapping and international opportunities. And who are the first Stardom wrestlers that are going to be taking advantage of those international opportunities, Matt? Well, just a little person called Saya Kamitani. So Saya Kamitani and Rina are both going to be a part of the event at New York on June the 11th, and both dates in Philadelphia at the ECW Arena on June 12th and June 13th. This, by the way, is Saya Kamitani's first international date since she was in Philadelphia 2 years ago. So there you go. Things come full circle. Matt, obviously, a huge move for Stardom as they want to get more of a presence internationally. That's great for us. Great for you as well, as it's just down the road from you. If you can obviously get there, I'm not going to force you to go if you don't want to. But it's an interesting one because I don't know a great deal about MLW's women's roster. So I've sort of got the roster page up there. We've got Shotzi. We've obviously got Lady Frost. Lady Frost is one that sticks out to me. She's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what she can do with some of the Stardom talent. We've got Priscilla Kelly as well. They've just announced a new member of the roster, and I cannot remember what their name is, and I feel really, really, really bad for not being able to remember who it is. Begins with a Z. Matt, get your opinion on this, and I'll find out who it is.
This is going to be great. The MLW featherweight women's champion was, or may even still be, Shoko
Nakajima. Zamaya.
That's right. I did see that the other day. So this is going to be great. Shotzi's definitely going to get. Shotzi is the biggest star in the women's division in MLW. Again, I only know a handful of stuff. I actually have friends that work there, so I'm kind of just going off the buzz. And obviously, Shotzi's a big star coming off WWE TV, doing great stuff in the Indies. Had that great feud with Matt Cardona and Game Changer Wrestling. So they're doing good stuff there. My guess is Shotzi's going to get either Saya and Rena on one of those shows, whether it's in singles or tags. I don't know. But again, 3 shows, all in my area. New York City on Friday, and then that Saturday and Sunday at the ECW Arena. I don't know yet how many shows I'm going to be going to. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. Really not sure just yet. Just trying to work out some of the details, but I will be on hand one way or another to be covering this these shows. So that's going to be really, really interesting, really cool to see what they're doing with Saya Kamitani and Rena in Major League Wrestling. And again, it's not like they're wrestling at some small show in the middle of nowhere. You're in New York City. You know, that venue is not that far away from Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. You know, New York City, one of the biggest wrestling cities in the world, most passionate wrestling cities in the world. And then the next day, they're the ECW Arena. My opinion, the Philly fans, when it comes to sports, you folks are the most passionate and craziest sports fans, and wrestling is right up there. So, and again, in a legendary building like the ECW Arena, Rena got over very well in her debut in Las Vegas just last month. Saya Kamitani is somebody that the American audience have been dying to see back in the fold, wrestling somewhere in the States. No better place to make your re-debut than the ECW Arena. So this is going to be great. My guess is they'll probably do a tag. I think you're going to see Saya and Rena on a tag. So. Yeah, maybe against maybe a Shotzi and a Lady Frost. Again, if they bring Shoko Nakajima into these shows and it's Shoko and whoever, or Shoko and a singles versus Rena and Saya, that would be so. Oh, one can dream, Rob Goodwin. One can dream. But I wouldn't be shocked if you see a Lady Frost and a Shotzi versus a Saya and Rena. But we'll find out as we are less than a month away from these shows. So I think this is awesome. I don't know if you're going to touch upon it, but I'm just going to briefly talk about it. They're going to be doing some stuff for Ring of Honor as well for the Global Wars show in Cincinnati. They're coming up, I believe, at the end of next month. They did announce that. Oh, there it is. I didn't mean to do that. That they're doing that, because once they announced this, I was just like, I got no problem taking a day off work covering this show. I'm like, Cincinnati's like a 6-7 hour drive, so more than likely I probably won't go to that one, but the week before. So
really cool from you.
Yeah, I know you're still mad at me a couple weeks ago when I wouldn't go to Texas to see Hanako on a dark match for Ring of Honor. I know I'm still getting.
Was it a dark match?
Yeah, I'm still getting heat for that. I wouldn't drive halfway across to watch Hanako in a dark match for Ring of Honor. So yeah, but again, I don't know. More than likely the Global Wars. We will be covering, because we have a Women of Honor segment over on Talk Joshi that we introduced about 3 or 4 weeks ago that the you listeners really seem to enjoy. So that's really cool for me. So we'll be covering the Global Wars show in one way or another. And then, of course, we'll be talking about Saya and Rena for MLW, my friend.
It is worth pointing out that they are scheduled to appear at 3 different dates. So that's 3 different matches you would assume for those 3 dates. Because again, I assume that these are fusion tapings. Maybe one of them is a pay-per-view. I don't know. Because again, I'm not entirely sure how MLW's taping schedule works.
They do a lot on YouTube. They do a lot of stuff on their YouTube channel. So I mean,
so you would assume if they're scheduled to arrive to appear at 3 different events, you would assume that we're going to get at least 3 matches from, well, probably 3 matches from them. So I think you're absolutely right. I think we do get a tag. It wouldn't surprise me if we get some sort of singles match from Saya or Rina or both, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, very, very exciting. Obviously, then we've got the Global War show, as you mentioned, Matt, June 18th. The chances are Kamitani won't be on that because the conversion is 2 days later. Rina will be on. I think Rina will be on this show because she is at CMLL at Arena Mexico on the 19th. Against India's CO. It wouldn't surprise me. I think we are probably looking at Rina. I think Suri and Hazuki would make sense to have their legs of the Owen Hart Cup. If Suri is fit, obviously Suri's still out injured at the moment, recovering from a neck injury. And it wouldn't surprise me if Suri is on there as well, maybe defending the IWGP Women's Championship. Although, isn't that just a week away from Forbidden Door as well?
I think Forbidden Door is the 28th. I think it's the last weekend of June, I believe so.
The only thing I know is it's in San Jose. I don't know why. I don't know why I know that, not the date. Yeah, June 28th. So it's a week or so away from this. But yeah, a lot of international opportunities for Stardom right now, which is great, which is absolutely fantastic. Because again, we have got some of the greatest wrestlers in the world on this Stardom roster, and it's great that people in America who won't have been able to see them live get the opportunity to experience a Saya Kamitani, a Rina, a Hazuki, a Syuri. Again, the reaction that I know that Rina and Saya Kamitani are going to get on those MLW shows is truly fantastic, and I can't wait for that.
One thing too, I noticed, Rob, I know, when it comes to anything ticket wise, when you're buying tickets for anything, concerts, wrestling, it's always crazy. The MLW for the ECW Arena standing room tickets are like $15.
That it?
Yeah. Yeah, we paid 8 times as much of that just for parking for WrestleMania last year.
We really did.
That was mad. It was $100 for parking. I'm not even joking.
Well, I'm just having a look at the Melrose Ballroom in New York, which is obviously where they're running on Thursday the 11th. $19 the tickets. No, tickets start at $15. It does say. So this must just be the sign that says it's $19, which is really good value, really, for what you're getting. So again, really exciting international opportunities on the horizon for Stardom. Just want to bring up a couple of Stardom wrestlers who have been out and about. I want to start with Natsupoi, who took on her trainer Kiyoshi Ito in a singles match at the Ito Dojo show on the 17th of May. Natsupoi ultimately ended up winning that match with the Ferial Gift. We've also got Rian, who is in the middle of the Catch the Wave tournament. She is in the Namijo Surge block. She went to a time limit draw on the 10th of May at Tokyo Square in Itabashi with Saren. Now, the way that the Catch the Wave tournament works is if it goes to a draw, and I believe this is correct, the person who's got the least experience gets 2 points. The person who's got the most experience gets 1 point. So Saren got the more points out of this match. And then Rian, again today, as we record, she went to another time limit draw against Zones at Shinjuku Face, again picking up another 2 points there as well. So maybe Matt Turner, she follows in the lineage of Saya Kamitani, goes all the way and wins the Pro Wrestling Wave Catch the Wave tournament.
Hell yeah, Stone Cold Rian. Speaking of which, you see the new Rian shirt?
I did. It's awesome.
Her drinking a beer. Look at that.
Is it just the shirt that we saw in the front row of Korakuen Hall, do you think?
maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's the back of it. Maybe
Maybe.
the guy put it on
Imagine.
backwards. Oh my
Just
goodness.
Rian drinking a beer and then just F you at the back. Amazing. That's what Rian's needs to be.
Some more than the Austin 316 shirts with the smoking skull on the back.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's cut straight into the shows that we're going to be covering today. The first was Stardom in Takasaki from the 16th of May. The way we're going to do this show is I'll read all the results like we did last week. I'll read all the results out, everything you need to know about the shows, the attendance, all of that jazz. After each of the matches, Matt is going to increasingly sensually tell you his star ratings for the matches, and then we're just going to pick 3 matches that we're going to talk about in a little bit of detail. We will talk about every match from the Korakuen Hall show, though. So just a reminder that before the show, it was announced that both Saya and Ann Kanai would miss the show. May through that unspecified injury, and obviously Ann from having that plate removed from her injury. The announced attendance inside the GMS Gunma in Takasaki was 546. Now, though that is a 19.11% decrease on the company's previous house at the venue, which was 675 in November 2025, which was a part of their tag league, that is also currently the company's highest at the venue. That number 546 that they drew to this show on the 16th of May is the second highest of the 7 shows the company have run there. So it's down slightly from the previous house, still the second highest of the 7 shows the company have run there. So still a good number. Quick results then. We open with a 6-woman tag. The hate team of Saya Kamitani, Konami, and Rina defeated the Stars team of Hanan, Saida, and Momokogo. Saya Kamitani pinning Momokogo with the Star Crusher in 10 minutes and 45 seconds.
3.5 stars. I do want to say, what a heck of a match to start your show off with. There's a lot of star power
is
there.
It? There's a lot of star power.
I was like,
power, some would say.
Oh, and I don't hate that.
Look at that.
I'm bringing in 44 with the home run.
3-way match next. Ami Sourei defeated Waka Tsukiyama and Emma Maishima. Ami pinning Emma with the Blue Thunder Bomb in 7 minutes and 36 seconds.
3.25 stars.
6-woman tag match next. Hazuki, Koguma, and Xena defeated Azumi, Mio Amasaki, and Yuna Mizumori. Hazuki rolling up Azumi with the Hazuki Straw in 6 minutes and 42 seconds.
3.5 stars. Too short.
Too short, of course. And we need more Hazuki in our lives. We all know that. 8-woman tag match next. The God's Eye team of Hina, Lady C, and Kyoko Kitatsu defeated Ai Sakura, Natsupoi, and Motoi Hamabe. Kyoko Kitatsu picking up a rare win in Stardom by submitting Motoi with the armbar in 10 minutes and 43 seconds.
3.5 stars.
Semi-main event, 4-way tag team match. Koppai Mate, Hanako and Maika defeated the Mavido Loka team of Suzu Suzuki and Akira Kurogane, BMI 2000 of Natsuko Tora and Ruaka, and the team of Starlight Kid and Rian. Hanako pinning Rian with the JP coaster in 10 minutes and 5 seconds.
3.75 stars.
And then finally, your main event, Sayaka Kurara and Rani Yagami teaming together to defeat Maki Ito and Kikyo Furusawa. Rani Yagami getting the win over Kikyo with the Beatbuster in 14 minutes and 9 seconds.
3.75 stars.
So we're going to start talking about the 6-woman tag that saw O2 and Yuna Mizumori against Hazuki, Koguma, and Xena. This was obviously before the Goddess of Stardom match got pulled from the pay-per-view. So this was sort of a preview match ahead of the high-speed title match that we would get at Korakuen and the Goddess match at Wrestle Dynasty. Even though, Matt, we are no longer getting that match at Wrestle Dynasty, this was still a very, very exciting match. And again, a lot of speed in this match, considering there were 6 women in this ring and got less than 7 minutes to tell their stories.
It still was interesting. Again, I gave it 3.5 stars, but I did want to talk about it because of the action we got, even though it was nowhere near as long as we'd liked it to be. It was phenomenal. And I mentioned how B and Hanan have done a great job hyping their matchup for this weekend. Yuna and Xena have done equally as great of a job hyping up their match, for which we're going to talk about in a few moments, for their championship match in Korakuen Hall. And then you almost get like a high-speed tag match, which I don't know if we've ever really seen before in the 15-year history of Stardom. Is again, obviously Izumi, Koguma, and Hazuki, all former high-speed champions. Miyu Misaki, you can kind of throw in that mix if they ever want to have her challenge somewhere down the line, because Miyu was able to keep up with that high-speed style that, again, Izumi, Koguma, and Hazuki are experts at. Really terrific stuff. Great stuff back and forth. Great tag stuff we got with O2 Line versus FWC. The stuff we got with Hazuki and Izumi. We've never gotten that really big singles match, Rob. And I know they had a match back in, I believe it was the 2023 Cinderella tournament, where everybody got double eliminated all in the first round. But it was still a really great match. And it's just like, man, once they pull the trigger on that match, it's going to be really something special. So again, I thought the tag stuff we got with O2 Line and FWC, especially Izumi and Hazuki, was really something special. And again, it was just the cherry on top with Xena and Yuna giving us the last basically preview match that we're going to get before their championship match that took place just a few days later in the legendary Korakuen Hall. Again, 3.5 stars, considering the fact that they went less than 7 minutes. We're able to hit a lot of big beats. Just goes to show you how truly talented all 6 of these wrestlers are.
We then moved on to the 4-way tag match, and of course, Kopai Mate won. But it's the team of Starlight Kid and Rian that caught your eye, and perhaps a possible partnership down the line.
I think that might be a good fit for Stone Cold Rian. Again, this EXV team split up how many more months ago, even though Hanako and Micah still keep teaming up. But I guess I'm never going to complain about a good thing, because they work really well together as a team. But where does Rian going to fit when it comes to the faction shakeup? Like, we still have so many members that are unaffiliated. Like, FWC has not had a faction in a year. So it's like, where is everybody going to wind up? I think Rian and Starlight Kid worked really well together. Like, Rian, they did a great job spotlighting Rian in this match, and then you find out why at the end. She eats the pin. Again, I say this all the time, I'm going to say it again: if you just squash somebody and beat them, who'd you beat? You didn't beat anybody. But they did a good job when they put this match together to make sure Rian got all the big beats, make sure Rian got all the good spots. They made her look really good, and then Hanako was able to pin her in the end, so it just makes Hanako look more of a star. So I thought that was terrific. Suzuki and Micah, there's something there. Sometimes they team up, sometimes they fight. And again, we'll talk about in Korakuen Hall. I liked how BMI 2000 was kind of like the glue in this match, because they've been teaming the longest. They're the only set tag team champions with these 3 teams. So I really like that. And they're the heels. All the chaos, they're able to get away with a lot of cheating because there's only one referee, which I like. The Kira Kuragami, again, I think she's going to prime to have a really good year, especially at the tail end of the year. Hanako and Micah, they always look great as a team. Interesting to see where that is eventually going to go, because I still think there's more money in Micah maybe making a championship run or being the champion maybe at the end of the show, or at the end of the year for the big show for Dream Queendom. Again, we'll see how that shakes out. But again, partner, I just think, and folks, let me know, in the comment section, or just drop me a line. Do you think Rian is a good fit for Neo Genesis? Because I think she fits in perfectly, my friend. I thought her and Starlight Kid were terrific. Starlight Kid just works well with anybody, whether she's teaming, whether she's across the ring. I mean, Starlight Kid, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 best wrestlers on planet Earth right now. She really is a truly special talent. And I think Rian mixed in there with Mei Sarah, with Miyu, Azumi, and possibly Motoi Hamabi, because I think that's the way Motoi is going to go. I think it would really be a great thing to round out Neo Genesis if that's the way they go with it.
Yeah, they did sort of tease some stuff with Cosmic Angels and Motoi in one of the backstage segments. She didn't seem as keen to do the trials as Zank and I did. I don't know if you saw, by the way, the first trial was to make Aya Sakura's dog sit or something like that, and Aya Sakura couldn't do it either. So, but obviously with Ank and I out for the next month, maybe focus is going to change to Motoi. I think Motoi is more of a fit for Neo Genesis. I think Rian would fit really well with Neo Genesis. She's young, she's a little bit edgy, and I think she worked really well with Starlight Kid. Micah and Suzuki are there's such a love-hate relationship there, because again, everything seemed at All-Star Grand Queendom to come to a natural I'd say nice. They literally had flowers stapled to their face. But, you know, like...
It's nice. Flowers are beautiful. I see you did, man.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
It's how every argument ends, isn't it?
Jeez, I hope I don't get in a fight tonight.
Exactly. Just be careful. Take your staple gun. But yeah, that seemed to be a nice end to the feud. And then at Korakuen, like, they hate each other again. Now, obviously, I understand they're both in this 4-way at Queen's Dynasty, and, you know, the prize of a shot at the red belt against someone who all 4 of those women perceived to be a weak champion in Sayaka Kurara is obviously overbearing that, but it does make me laugh that sometimes they love each other, sometimes they hate each other, sometimes they respect each other. It just depends what day of the week it is. It really does tickle me. So moving on then, the main event. Speaking of the red belt champion, and we are going to be talking a lot more about that red belt champion in our Queen's Dynasty preview. Sayaka Kurara and Rani Yagami defeating the Ito Respect Army of Maki Ito and Kikyo Furusawa. They did, Matt, officially have a banner at Gunma, which was not better quality, I think, than their original one.
I don't know. The other one was really good, I guess.
Well, it was stronger than Ayasakura.
We're topping a steak with a steak. Maybe that's what we're doing.
Maybe.
There you go. I tell you what, and again, when Sakura beat Kamitani for the belt, we were like, okay, let's see where this goes. Obviously, it's not Mike, it's not Starlight Kid. She is carrying herself well as a champion. Like, if you're just getting into Stardom and you see Sakura walk out, you're like, that's somebody that has presence. Like, she really has this new aura around her. And again, maybe this was just to get the belt on her, and then she'll drop it because I don't see her being a long champion. And then it's like, guess what? She's going to be in the main event picture for quite a while now, because now she's looked at different. So maybe that's the reason why. We talked about it last week. I'm going to talk about it on these shows too. She walks out and she's just somebody special. Like, there's a new light on her. So again, that's great. That's great for Stardom. It's just another main eventer thrown in with all these other great main eventers. This is the Maki Ito and Sayaka Kurara stuff, just really entertaining. Like, it's really, really fun. I'm interested to see how this match goes, because we've seen over the years these legendary main events for the red belt on these pay-per-views, whether it was Mike as champion or Tam as champion or Shuri as champion or Utami or Saya Kamitani. Like, you have those, like, it's the expectations are so high. Like, it's like, you know, you're going to bottom out at 4.5 stars. So it's like, can they get there? We're going to find out. And they did a really good job building that up. And I thought Ron and Kikyo as well. They did a good job making Kikyo look like a threat to Ron. And then Ron just blitzes her at the end, hits her with her version of the Northern Lights bomb, the beat buster for the 3 count. I enjoyed this one. Then I like how this is the main event of this show as your preview tag. And then we get it basically ×2 in Korakuen. 3 3/4 stars. I enjoyed this one. And again, I'm really enjoying this build-up with Sayaka and Maki Ito. I think I know who's going to win, but I'm just interested to see how that match goes this weekend, my friend.
Yeah, me too. And again, it's an interesting main event. Again, we are going to be talking about Sayaka Kurara in our preview. I think it's a good first title defense for Sayaka, because I feel like her and Maki have got quite good chemistry together. I feel like there's not going to be... Maki's not going to do anything ridiculously crazy. I feel like it's quite a safe first opponent. It's more storyline driven than anything else. Obviously, with Maki Ito's, never-ending vendetta against Cosmic Angels, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Let's say that. Let's move on to the Korakuen Hall show that aired on the 17th of May in Korakuen Hall. Announced attendance of 1,356, which, when you consider that there was only the high-speed title and the Artist of Stardom belts on the line, and it was main evented by an 8-woman tag with Sayaka Kurara, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Rani Yagami, Maki Ito, Kikyo Furusawa, Hazuki, and Koguma. I think that's a really, really, really good number. It's a 3.35% increase on the previous attendance, which was 1,312 on the 23rd of April. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it moves Stardom's average attendance at Korakuen Hall in 2026 to 1,282 and to 987 overall. Just a reminder, the Artist of Stardom champions Konami, Kiori Oniyama, and Rina would be defending those belts for a fourth time, 249 days as champion. And we're just going to move over the fact that I've called a Kiori Oniyama and not Fukigen Death.
How dare you?
I know. I don't know who I think I am. Hanan, Sayurida, and Momokogo are your challengers, and were the first challengers back when Hate initially won the belts. And if you remember, of course, the subsequent beatdown in September led to Hanan being out injured until 2026. Interestingly, and I know this sounds like a really stupid point, but none of the Stars trio have ever held the Artist of Stardom championships. Sayurida is one of those people who you say her name and you're like, yeah, she's probably held the Artist of Stardom belts at some point. Never, not once. There you go. And the 28th high-speed champion, Yuna Mizumori, will be defending her belt for the third time against Xena. Xena, of course, who's never held a singles title in Stardom, but impressed in her last high-speed title match against Meisero, which went to the time limit draw. Xena 12-8-1 in singles matches in her Stardom career. The results then, as we go through this, we open with a tag match. Karate Brave, Syuri and Tomoka Inaba. I put Takumi Iroha on my notes. I must have been reading the Marigold thing at the same time. Defeated Aya Sakura and Kyoka Kitatsu with Syuri pinning Kyoka Kitatsu with the Ruen in 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Matt, are you going to do your star ratings, or are you going to wait as we're going through every match anyway?
Well, I'll wait. We'll hold everybody there. Now, okay. Folks, you're going to have to wait. Go ahead, good sir. What was the time on that? What was the time on that, buddy?
That was 9 minutes and 2. We then had a three-way match. Rian defeating Waka Tsukiyama and Matoya Hamabe. Rian pinning Matoya with the Fisherman Suplex in 8 minutes and 23 seconds. 8-woman tag, Amisori, Hina, Lady C, and Emma Maishima defeated Suzu Suzuki, Akira Kuragane, Maika, and Hanako. Hina pinning Akira with the modified jackhammer in 10 minutes and 44 seconds. 8-woman tag, the team that I like to call Team Aura, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, Sioriano, and Fuwa-chan, defeated the hate team of Tora, Saya Kamitani, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba. Sioriano pinning Azusa Inaba with a German suplex in 10 minutes and 57 seconds. Not Tom's Tundra, unfortunately. High-speed championship match, the champion Yuna Mizumori did retain, defeating Xena with the Tropicana in 13 minutes and 4 seconds. Artist of Stardom Championship match, the hate team of Konami, Rina, and Fukigen Death did retain their championships, defeating Stars, Hanan, Sayurida, and Momokogo. Konami submitting Hanan with the final Lancer in 20 minutes and 9 seconds. And then in your main event, 8-woman tag match, Sayaka Kurara, Azumi, Miyu Wamasaki, and Rani Yagami defeated Maki Ito, Kikyo Furusawa, Hazuki, and Koguma. Sayaka Kurara pinning Kikyo Furusawa with the Tokameki Spear in 12 minutes and 58 seconds. So, Matt, we opened with Karate Brave, not Takumi Iroha, as I've erroneously written in my notes. It is Tomoka Inaba, teaming against Aya Sakura and Kyoka Kitatsu. This, of course, does set up the Syuri and Kyoka Kitatsu singles match we're getting at Queen's Dynasty. However, more notably, Aya Sakura in old Syuri gear. Nice little vibe.
Very weird considering that we've seen Rani Yagami do it, but they're in the same faction. Like Aya is in Cosmic Angels, not unless she goes over to, because she does kind of fit more of a God's Eye vibe, right? In Cosmic Angels. I mean, do they need more people at the same time? Does hate mean more people? Again, I don't know. We shall see.
Always need more people. Hate always need more people.
I guess they're the exception of the rule. Regardless, if it's just a one-off, I thought it was really, really cool. Really cool. I like speaking of really cool. They did put the first 3 matches and the Stardom MLW announcement on YouTube for free. What a great way to start the show and give this match away for free. This is literally kicks galore. Right up my alley. This was terrific. And it was great work. We had Karate Brave and Tomoka Inaba and Shuri they almost were challenging each other. It was like, no, I'm going to kick this person hard. No, I'm going to kick this person hard. And Shuri, who's always the leader here, was like, yeah, you did kick him really hard, but what if we just kicked them together at the same time? That's the way it really came about. Great fighting power here, our fighting spirit here from Kyoto Kitatsu, and then you find out why, because she's getting into this big singles match with Shuri, which I think might even be one of the openers on the pre-show. I wouldn't be shocked if that match is free on YouTube this weekend as well. But I thought she worked out really well here. Again, Aya Sakura is just, she always impresses me. Give me a big Aya versus Tomoka Inaba singles match somewhere down the line. To me, Rob, this almost seemed like this was going to be a preview for Karate Brave to then challenge O2 Line after O2 Line's title defense this weekend. Obviously, that's not going to happen because of the injury with Miyu Amasaki, but I think eventually you're going to see Karate Brave sometime in the summer challenge whoever the champions are. Again, I'd love this match, 3.5 stars. What this ultimately did is just set up Kyoto Kutatsu versus Shiri, which I'm so happy for Kyoto Kutatsu to get a big spotlight on a big show against one of the big main eventers here in Stardom with Shuri.
Moving on then, we've got the three-way, which we will now be running back at Queen's Dynasty. Rian getting the win over Motoi Hamabe. Matt, what were your thoughts on this three-way?
Get a little bit of everything. Like, Waka's so over. She's so lovable. Like, she might not be everybody's favorite wrestler, but nobody's like, God damn Waka. Like, no, everybody loves Waka. You know, I think her and Rian had some really great comedy spots when it comes like the foot stops and then them come going back and forth. And then Waka just taking like a double team butt kicking from Rian and Motoi. Again, Rob, maybe we do see Motoi and Rian in Neo Genesis somewhere down the line. And this might have been like maybe a little preview because we did see a little bit of teamwork on the poor Waka. Like, leave it up to like these two, the two younger wrestlers, to team up on poor Waka. Travesty. Again, Motoi is really aggressive, especially when it comes to like ripping at the arm. I thought Rian was fantastic as well. Rian getting over the fisherman suplex really gets high up on the toes, very much like early 1990s Kurt Hennig when it comes to that fisherman suplex. 3.25 stars. Always nice seeing Stone Cold Rian picking up the win.
Moving on, we had the 8-woman tag. Obviously, God's Eye picking up the victory, which would make sense with them challenging for the artist belts. Not that it stopped Mavita Loca from challenging as well, but we saw those cracks. Those cracks appear in the already very strange relationship between Suzu Suzuki and Maika.
They did try. They did seem to try to make it work.
How much did they try, Matt? How much did they really try?
There was a couple times where Micah almost hit Suzu. Micah's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. And then Suzu was like, enough of this. And they wind up rolling up the aisle. So you had that story. Like, that was kind of maybe the B story here. To me, the main story, and I love Emma, and I'm excited for Emma to get this opportunity, teaming with the Zoom against FWC this weekend. To me, this was all about making sure Hina, Lady C, and Ami Sourei look good. They're double teams. They're triple teams. We talked about it back 2 years ago. Hina and Lady C part of Team Classroom in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. They didn't win a lot of matches, but they looked really good, and they idolized the 3D. Now we know with Lady C and Ami Sourei, they do the flapjack. Now they're adding in Hina hitting the cutter. So you get the flapjack into the cutter. So kind of a little bit of Team Classroom and the Tokyo Towers combined together. To me, that's what it was for me. Obviously, Mike and Suzu kind of took each other out here, but this was all about shining up Hina, Lady C, and Ami Sourei. I know we had the discussion last week who is going to end the hate reign as artist champions. I'm pretty sure now which way I'm going because I was obviously wrong on this show, which we'll get into. But
you were a brave man for thinking it would be Stars.
I bet in my heart, I love Momo Coco. Not only did she lose, now and she's out.
She's out injured,
yeah.
I don't know if she's injured or ill, but yeah.
Regardless, I was like, I doubled down. Momo Kogo, she loses, and then she's going to be out a week or two. So sorry, Momo Kogo. I'll take the heat on that one. But again, I just thought that as great as everybody looked to me, this was the Lady C, Ami, and Hina show. And if this is what we're going towards, and I think they did announce that the next Corkin, whoever wins that 3-way gets the shot. I think they already said when that's going to happen. I mean, to me, it's right here. It's right here. I thought they looked phenomenal. Hina, man, it's for a couple years ago, we're saying how Hanan is clearly the best of the sisters. Then like a year and a half ago, like Rena's right there. Hina's got a lot of catching up to do. Hina might have the most aura out of all of them. It's really, I mean, there's no, I mean, Rena's great. Hanan's obviously great. Has there ever been 3 brothers or sisters like this good in one company before? Like, I know you can talk about the bloodline, but I'm talking about like directly the brothers or sisters. Like, man, what special talent. Really was special. And their combined age is like 62. It's like, it's crazy. Sorry, 3.5 stars. I love this one. Again, if the idea is to put the artist belts on Ami, Lady C, and Hina, which spoilers, I think it is, this match was really the perfect precursor for it, in my opinion, good sir.
I'm going to throw the Von Erichs out there.
Oh my goodness! But I forgot to tell you. You were probably asleep when I found out. You know those autograph sessions me and Andy had are usually go to? The ones in New
Yes.
York? They announced Kevin Von Erich for the next one.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I found out like 6:00 the other night. I'm like, oh, Rob will be asleep. So I sent the text to Amber. And Amber's like, you should show him the bag of dirt you collected when he went to the sportatorium. And I go, oh my God, it's a great idea. She's like, please don't do that. I was just joking. I'm like,
yeah,
no, it's getting packed.
It's getting packed.
It's getting packed.
Getting to sign it.
The bag of dirt? I don't know.
Just imagine this from his perspective. He sees this smiling, muscly man coming towards him, carrying his little Ziploc bag of dirt. Like that. Don't show. Oh, for God's.
There it is. I do have it right here. There it is.
My God.
Sportatorium, Dallas, Texas, 2024. Even Amber wrote the date on it. She wasn't even there. It was so hot. Oh my God. Me and my buddy Jeff walked there. It was only half a mile. We had to go to the 7-Eleven across the street so we can rinse our faces off and then drink some water. It was so hot. Kind of like how it is now. I'm glistening in this room. Look at this.
Please don't take your bag of dirt for a walk, Matt. I'm begging you. Please don't.
I don't know. No, I think I have to. Folks, you let me know in the comment section. Does Matt Turner bring his bag of dirt from the sportatorium to meet Kevin Von Erich? How did we go? We just went from
just because you've said it's from the sportatorium. He doesn't know that could just be from your garden.
I'll show him the picture. Show him proof.
Here's me digging some dirt.
There it is. And then I'm doing the claw on top of some sort of construction site where we almost got. That's what it is now. We're like, what are you kids doing here? I'm like, we're not kids. We're in our 40s.
Moving on then, and the aura is very much off the charts in this match, and that might just be Natsupoi and Soriano because their entrance was something fairly special, and Fuwa-chan and Soriano teaming at the pay-per-view, as we know, the team I never knew I needed.
I think it's cool how they're playing off what happened at All-Star Grand Queendom with Fuwa-chan beating Soriano, almost Soriano kind of slipping on a banana peel and then using the Hazuki Strata to beat Soriano, which I think ultimately Fuwa-chan needed. But it's going to be interesting because they worked really well and it's set up for the finish. Like Fuwa-chan hits the Shining Wizard on Azusa, and then it's Soriano getting the win with the German suplex, which I loved. Natsupoi, Starlight Kid, everything worked really well together. I wish it would have went longer. I mean, look at the star power you have in this match. Azusa Inaba was great. BMI 2000, they were terrific in their spots. Saya Kamitani came in and kind of played the hits. And it's crazy, like Saya Kamitani, now that she's not World of Stardom champion, you can see that she's leaning into a lot more of the cheers. Where it's like, when she was World of Stardom champion, people are screaming for her, and she kind of had to, like, she would like kind of half smile, but it's like, I still got to play this heel role. Like we see her like blowing kisses into the crowd. Like just blowing kisses in the crowd, like loving it. Like again, when they're able to meld the Golden Phoenix and the Phoenix Queen together, like whenever the time is right for that, I mean, it's going to be really off the races for Saya Kamitani. But this is great. It had all the beats. You had a great tag work with Sorry-poi. You had great stuff here with Starlight Kid and Saya Kamitani. We know they're not done yet with that because they keep teasing it. Azusa Inaba was great. Her stuff here towards the end with Soriano was terrific. You had your great Sorry-poi teamwork, but they didn't do enough of it. And the reason why was because they didn't want to be overshadowed by the stuff with Fuwa-chan. They knew the idea was for this match to build towards Fuwa-chan and Soriano to versus Saya Kamitani and Ruaka. And if we got the usual Sorry-poi teamwork, it would just overshadow it just because Sorry-poi is so darn good as a team. So I liked how they only gave you a little, but didn't give too much. Ultimately, this was to just make good on Fuwa-chan and Soriano being a team. And Fuwa-chan was like so happy. And Soriano was like, I'm really not supposed to like you because you pinned me on the biggest show in company history, but you helped me win here. So, okay. So I really like that. I thought that was a really cool scenario. 3 3/4 stars. I loved it. Wish it would have went longer. This could have went 40 minutes, Rob, and I still would have wanted more time. I mean, look at the star power in this team. But I like how they use this match to build towards the pay-per-view. Ultimately, that's what just really great bookers do.
Absolutely. 2 red belt champions, 3 white belt champions, and Ruaka. It's a solid lineup.
No, yeah, 4 former white belt champions.
Oh, Saya Kamitani.
How can you forget it's right behind you? Look at that, right there.
Mate, the Golden Phoenix is dead. You've got to let it go. She says in her theme.
Those themes don't last forever, though. You know that.
What do we think of Natsuko Tora's hair game? Has upped the game significantly over the past couple of months.
Not only that, but I'm sure you've noticed there's been a lot of chatter online about Julia going back to her Stardom hair days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she changes it quite a bit. But like Tora is almost like looking kind of like Julia in like 2020
with those blue dreads, the blue dreads.
Yeah, she looks awesome. Like even more of a badass, which I love. But I'm all for it, buddy. I'm all. What do you think? You enjoying the?
I'm always a fan. Always a fan. Always a fan. Moving on then, our title match for the high-speed title, Yuna Mizumori versus Xena. I sometimes forget because it feels like it's been such a long time since Xena has been put in a prominent position on the roster. Obviously, she was out for a significant amount of time with that knee injury, but has come back and has sort of was immediately sucked up into the EXV versus Mi Vida Loca feud. And it's nice to see her here where the focus is solely on her and she can remind people that actually she's a bloody good wrestler. Even though her match with Mei Seira, I felt like Xena adapted to the high speed style and they wrestled a high speed match. I don't feel like, aside from the opening, and potentially the closing sequence as well with the Tropicana, this wasn't necessarily your quintessential high-speed match. It was just a really good singles match. That being said, I thought there was some really, really, really good exchanges. Yuna Mizumori is throwing some absolute beast-level lariats at the moment, and Xena sold one of them like she'd been hit by a combine harvester. It was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed as well. There was one moment where Yuna Mizumori is attempting to springboard off the second rope, and Xena catches her with a 619 and kicks her legs out from under her. I was like, that is amazing. However, her doing the dive, the same dive that she injured her knee with in 2024, I could do without. Let's never do that dive again, Xena. Let's protect your knees. Let's never do that again. Speaking of dives, I enjoyed this match, really enjoyed this match. I think the right result was found. I think I might have found someone whose suicide dive is scarier than Hazuki's in Yuna Mizumori. I'm not sure we need to see a Yuna Mizumori suicide dive again, just because I don't know whether she clipped a foot on the way through, because she obviously did it through the second and the bottom rope.
Yeah, like a lome, yeah.
Yeah, and Xena was obviously very close to the apron, so was able to catch her, and it was fine. But obviously, had she been a bit further back, we could have been talking about a very messy situation. I just don't think Yuna needs to do it. I think she's great at what she does. I don't think she needs to do that, to be perfectly honest. Really good match, really good result. But it wasn't a high-speed match. And that was interesting to me. It was more of just a singles match. And again, this might be a match that we see again at a 5-star Grand Prix, perhaps. I know that there was a little bit that was made online of Xena's post-match where she said, I don't know what's next for me. She was obviously very emotional at the end. However, she has now been announced for the pay-per-view. So maybe she wins at the pay-per-view and then says, I'm leaving. I know that she is in a relationship with Dagger. I don't know if they're engaged. I know they're together from Pro Wrestling Noah. So he's obviously based in Japan as well. So unless there's something we don't know, I don't think she's leaving. But again, what do we know?
I didn't see the show until, because it was on a Sunday, so I didn't see the show until about 24 hours after it aired. And I know a lot of people were like,
still before me.
A lot of people would like, she cut this promo. I don't know what's next for me. I'm like, oh my God, I hope she's not leaving. I love Xena. I'm such a massive fan of hers.
Xena's great.
And then I'm going to get into the match in a moment. I just want to talk about the promo. And then when I watched the promo and the body language and the way she said it, it was just like, I chased this high-speed belt. I'm chasing it for months. I got some wins. I challenged for it. I lost. So I don't know what's next for me. That's
it didn't seem like I'm leaving promo.
She's leaving at all. No, like the way everybody made it. That's just the internet for you, Rob. That's just the internet. Like Ronda Rousey's fight was predetermined. I mean, have you seen her other fights where she wins? And by the way, if you have ever been in an armbar before, if you train like shoot or catch or jiu-jitsu, like That's the proper way to break somebody's arm. So if that Ronda Rousey thing was fake, like she almost broke Gina Carano's arm. Anywho, jeez, the internet. I love you guys, but come on. Anywho, yeah, the promo to me, buddy, just seemed like I don't know what's next. I don't. It did to me. It didn't seem like at all that
Yeah,
she's
that's
leaving.
how
So
it felt for me as well.
you mentioned Yuna's lariats, and she needed to really bring the lariats because Xena really brought the chops. Like you need
Those
to.
chops, those first ones when she was on the front row, and there was a guy filming it going, oh, oh, oh.
Nothing fake about that. I'll tell you that. I see your point. Like it seemed like it was a high speed match in the beginning, and then the end, it was like, holy jeez. There was some great, and I knew who won, but there was some great near falses. I was like, I
Really
thought
good.
Una retained, but they really even got me considering I knew who won. And again, in 1,300 people in Cork, and were really popping towards the finish. I think that's what they wanted to do. I think it's like let's add a little bit of high speed in the beginning and high speed at the end, and let's build up the intensity because Yuna is a very intense wrestler. Xena is always obviously a very hard hitter. So I think that's what they want to do. They want to take elements of the high speed and add it into what they do best, and that's just really great kick ass, hard hitting wrestling. So I think that's the way that they wanted to go with it, Rob. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There was some great counters, great back and forth. We had the chop off, the forearm, the chop versus the forearms, as you mentioned, the 619 to counter the springboard 10 from Yuna, which I thought was great. Xena hitting a huge left arm lariat, which whenever I see somebody hit a massive left arm lariat, I always think of the Dynamite Kid. So I thought that was terrific. And then the way this match built towards the end, where it looked like Xena was going to put Yuna away with a Thunderstruck, and then Yuna blocks the Thunderstruck right into the Superwoman. I thought that was the finish. Xena kicks out. We get great near falls back and forth. The crowd is eating it up. This poor referee is almost blown up. We get Xena with the dialogue into the O'Connor roll, like into the Backlund Bridge there, which was a really great falsy for a 2.9, but eventually it is Yuna getting the win with is almost like it was basically she used the rolling version. That's what I want to say, a rolling version of the Tropicana. Like she got it once and just kept rolling and rolling and rolling, and then got the high stack on the Xena. Love this match. This was terrific. Probably my favorite high speed match that I've seen in the last probably 10 to 12 months. 4.25 stars from me. Again, I really enjoyed this one. These two absolutely tore the house down.
This is going to sound like I'm ragging on the match, and I'm not. It wasn't a clean match. Like some of the roll ups and stuff, it looked like Xena was legitimately trying to force Unamism more, and that's something that I quite like in wrestling sometimes.
The struggle.
We're so used to seeing smooth choreographed wrestling. I know I've said this on the podcast before, and sometimes with that smoothness, with that choreography, we forget that this is a fight, this is a struggle. And I feel like here there was legitimate elements of struggle. And I'm going to use the word messiness. I don't mean messiness, but you get the idea of what I mean. You got the impression that this was a real battle. This was a fight. And I really enjoyed that about these two and about the partnership they have. Quick prediction. Does Xena make the 5-star this year? If she's, probably obviously still with the company, does Xena make the 5-star this year?
Yes, I sure hope so as well. And again, I think she stays with the company.
I think she stays as well.
I think that promo just got blown out of proportion on the internet because to me, it just didn't seem like that she was leaving. But yeah, I think she makes the 5-star. I'd love to see her in the 5-star. I think she'd be one that I don't think she would necessarily get a lot of wins, maybe 2 or 3, but she'd have great matches with anybody. We've seen her that great hard-hitting championship match with Micah when Micah was champion a couple years ago. We know she works the high-speed style, like her versus Shuri, her versus Starlight Kid, her versus Azumi. Anybody on the roster you want to see Xena wrestle. I think she'd be that good hand to have in the 5-star Grand Prix that could look really good, but eat a lot of losses because eventually, you can't have everybody go undefeated. It wouldn't mathematically make sense. So I think she'd be a good person to, win 40-50% of her matches, but yet still getting over even in losses. Pardon me, because that's how good Xena is.
Yuna Mizumori, does she make it?
Yes, absolutely. She's another really good hand to have in the 5-star Grand Prix, which again, I think we might actually be able to nail the prediction on the 5-star this year, Rob.
Well, I'm sort of starting with that tale on Wrestle Dynasty, which we'll get into in a little bit. But first, we get the artist of Stardom Championships. Konami, Rina, and Fuki Death defeating the Stars team. Now, I'm going to preface this. I am a big fan of this match. Thought it was a really, really, really good match. Really enjoyed the fact that we actually went back to the fact that Konami absolutely assaulted Hanan's arm and then won by destroying that arm. Thank you. Logical sense. I love that in my wrestling. That's what I want. If you're going to attack a limb, if you're going to make it the main preface of a main sort of thing of a match, focus of a match, make sure it plays into the finish, which it did, which I really enjoyed. I think there are enough women on this roster that we don't need to run back a match when we're only 4 defenses in. I don't think Hanan, Sayurida, and Momokogo needed another challenge when you have. I mean, look at the match we've got at Queen's Dynasty, where we've got 3 teams lined up. I think there is enough women on this roster to pad out defenses without returning to it unless Stars were going to win the belts. It seems a little bit weird. What also seemed weird was, and again, I love the finish of the match. I love the premise of the match. Hanan's arm being violated by Konami. Miss Icicle Queen as well. Fantastic nickname. Why did Konami get the win over Hanan?
Easy booking.
Like, it is easy booking, but is this just going to lead to another? Why? We don't.
How many Korakuens do we have lined up between now and the 5-star?
We've got one on the 26th, which is where Konami, I assume, is going to be defending alongside the others, the Artist of Stardom belts, presumably against God's Eye. But
you run this in the main event of a Korakuen sometime in the summer before the 5-star. It's going to sell out, and it's going to not only that, but then because that Konami Hanan match, as good as it was at All-Star Grand Queendom, it seemed like it was missing something. And I think again, everybody at the end of the show was talking about how great the main event was and Saya Kamitani winning. So you give this its own spotlight in Korakuen Hall. You literally can line up your next 3 Korakuen Hall main events, Rob. We know we're getting the artist match, right? Where it's probably going to be these 3 against, spoilers, in my opinion, the God's Eye trio. Then you're probably going to get something with O2 Line versus FWC, not unless they go to the conversion. And then you have Hanan and Konami. I think it makes logical sense. Again, Konami's such a great heel. She was getting booed out of the building in the proper ways because she was cheating on Hana's arm earlier on the match with the post and the chair and all that. And then even when the finish was going, I'm like, man, I really hope Konami submits Hanan, because now you can run it back, because you remember Konami as a champion drew really well because people were paying money to see Konami get her ass kicked. And that never happened until she got to Hanan. Now all you do is you run this back. Again, where did Konami injure Hanan last year? Korakuen Hall. Where did Konami have majority of her successful title defenses against and was booed out of the building in the proper way? Korakuen Hall. To me, this just makes sense. When I saw the finish, or when I saw they were building towards it, they're going to do a rematch, run it back in Korakuen Hall. It's going to get its own spotlight. It's not going to be overshadowed by Aya versus Saya Kamitani. Hanan's going to get the big win, thus springboarding her into the 5-star degree as somebody that may potentially win it as the Wonder of Stardom champion, which you always want to highlight your champions in the tournaments, just because then why would they be champions if they're eating losses? So again, I think this did a lot. But the match was great. I liked how they teased the Doomsday Bulldog. We forgot. We haven't seen that in quite some time because we haven't seen the artist belts defend in quite some time because Konami's been very busy as Wonder of Stardom champion. So I liked how they teased it. They eventually went there. I liked how the match started with the Stars team jumping.
Subverting expectations.
It was like, there you go. Momokogo was great here. You can tell how over the death Fuking death spot is when she went to go do it and Momokogo blocked it and they booed Momokogo. And after the second time, Momokogo turned around and was like, what? Because on the entrances, I mean, look who's in this match. On this entrances, I think Momokogo was the second most over person on the entrance alone with Rina. People were chanting for Rina. Like when Rina came out, they were chanting for Momokogo came out, and the people were like, you have Hanan and Saida, main eventers, great tag team, great singles wrestlers. Hanan's your Wonder of Stardom champion. Everybody's going crazy for Momokogo until she blocked the death, Fuking death. Rob, if I was Stardom, considering the fact that they're just throwing random things at the wall and they're mostly sticking, what I would do is, they always have that Christmas Korakuen, like right around Christmas time. I would book Fuking Death versus Santa Claus. And I would do that death, Fuking Death spot. And if they boo Santa Claus, that's how you know Pukin Death should be your next world champion. I mean, right there. When you're over more than Santa Claus in Korakuen Hall during Christmas time, that's all I'm saying, buddy. That's all I'm saying. Again, though, this match was great. You're right. I loved it how they went back. They started working on Hanan's arm. They went back to it. Momo Kogo was great here. Again, I have such a soft spot for Momo Kogo. I think she's phenomenal. Saida, like she did a little something different with her hair. It was almost like she took like her old look and her newer look and kind of combined it. She was terrific. Again, Rena as well. She had new gear, I think, a few weeks ago and kind of redid her hair. She's phenomenal. And I know we mentioned a few weeks ago, we think eventually it's going to be Rena and Hanan. They're going to run back to Cinderella finals with the white belt on the line, and maybe that's where Rena wins it. Again, she was the most over person on that one of the most over person on that Stardom show in Vegas, and she's supposed to be a heel in her debut against Athena. I thought this hit all the beats. This was terrific. 4.5 stars. The artist belts, even though sometimes we're like, they don't get defended that much. You look at some of the artist matches we've had over the last 4 or 5 years. They're some of the best in wrestling, but you just forget about it because of how great the Goddess division has been with Crazy Star and with Wingory and FWC and O2 Line and Starbomb and so on and so forth. And the white belt scene, the red belt scene. Man, the artist belts have been some phenomenal match. Again, 4.5 stars. I like the finish because now if they don't build towards a Han and Konami rematch and it's kind of just a throwaway, then I'll be scratching my head. But I think that's the way they're going. At least that's my opinion, because you got Konami's heat back after Konami kind of lost the heat after losing the belt. You got her heat back, and you may as well cash in again on doing Han and Konami and do it in Korakuen Hall because you do 1,500 people on that match alone.
For me, there are people I'd want to see have a shot at Hanan's belt before running Konami back. I'm not saying Konami shouldn't get a rematch, but certainly not straight away. And especially as it felt, again, very similar to the Maika and Suzu story. It felt like All-Star Grand Queendom was the catharsis, the climax of a story. You know, she'd already run through both of Hanan's sisters. She's put Hanan on the shelf. She's run through Hanan's tag partner. Her Hanan capitalizing and managing to eventually take the belt off Konami felt very much like the end of the story. I didn't feel like there needed another chapter, but that's by the by. That's just, I think that might just be personal preference.
Maybe it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, buddy, where they only did 3, and then they're like, it made money. Let's go back to the well again, and let's try to get a little more juice out of that squeeze. Maybe that's what it's Captain Jack Konami Sparrow. Maybe that's what it is.
That's a terrible likeness, because the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean film was god awful.
So, which one was it? I enjoyed Rob
was that Blackbeard?
Was that Keith Richards as Blackbeard?
I don't know, maybe. I can't remember. I just remember the 4th and the 5th ones were you enjoy everything. You're such a terrible barometer for stuff like this. You enjoy everything.
I know. I saw them. I was talking to my sister's a diehard Star Wars fan, and I was like, hey, you going this weekend? She's like, yeah. The reviews are a 5 out of 10. I'm like, that means it's going to be an 11 for me. That's...
By the way, Hate, Konami, Fukin Death, and Rena, 3rd longest reigning artist of Stardom champions in history at 251 days.
What successful title defense was this, partner?
So that was number 4. So they are. There's not many that have surpassed this. I think the most is 7. Yeah, so both Cosmic Angels and My Himipoi got 7. Awela Tai have got 5. And then it's Hate, the Stars team of Mayu, Tam, and Saki got 4. And then Tawashi's of Hiroyo Matsumoto, Mayu, and Mia Wakazawa got 4 as well. So one more successful title defense takes them joint 3rd. So a decent run. I just hope that there's not a massive gap between title defenses again. Main event time then, 8-woman tag match, Matt. And did this elevate your excitement, especially for the upcoming World of Stardom Championship match?
I was shocked that this was the main event, yet it got less time than the match before.
I just assumed the artist belts would be the main event.
And I was writing my notes, and then Maki takes the spear, and then Zach hits the spear again. I'm like, okay, somebody's going to break it up. I'm like, oh. All right. I'll tell you what, Rob, this again, I obviously when you see this card unfold, but clearly what they're doing is you have 3 championship matches in one match here: Rana versus Kikyo, Sayaka versus Maki Ito, and FWC versus O2 line. So it's like, okay, this is easy booking, makes sense. This is your go home show before the pay per view, and this exactly did what it needed to do. I was more excited for these 3 championship matches. Rob, the match that I was most excited for was O2 line versus FWC. Now I was excited going into it, even if they did no preview tags whatsoever. I'm like, I know what I'm getting. I know it's gonna be great wrestling. But the way that they built this up, especially in this match, I'm like, man, I'm excited for this match. And then I wake up on my birthday of all days, and I'm like,
on your birthday.
But what can you do? That happens. At least it's only a 2-week thing from what we understand. It's not something that Miyu's going to be out a long time. Again, this was great. You did get a little interaction here with Rana and Maki Ito, and you did get quite a bit with Kikyo and Sayaka Kurora as well. So I like that. Again, the Izumi Hazuki stuff was great. The Miyu Amasaki and Koguma stuff with the bear dance, because poor Miyu, it's like you could see in her eyes, that Koguma is going to really get one over on her, but she can't resist it. She just can't. And Rana's over there like, no, nobody hates the bear dance. What are you doing?
It's like the snake in Jungle Book.
That's what it is. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't, like, no. And like Miyu, if you remember when they had Miyu and Koguma at the 5-star, I think it was 2024. Where it was like 14 matches on a Korakuen show. And they did the Kuma dance, and then it actually came back to bite Koguma, and it was like a 90-second match, but it was so damn entertaining, and they kind of played off that. But then you get like the heavy hitters of Izumi and Hazuki, and again, oh man, I know we're not getting the tag match, but we're still getting Izumi across the ring from Hazuki this weekend, so it's like, yes, all for that. But they did a great job hitting the beats. I wish we had more time, considering we had a really long yet really good high-speed match and artist match. Those were the 2 best matches of the show, in my opinion. And they still ended it with this just for your go-home. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but man, they made Sayaka Kurora look like a killer. I thought going into this match, Maki Ito was going to get the win, because usually we see the challenger on these go-home shows getting the win. So I'm like, that's going to be Maki Ito probably pinning either Miyu or Rana. But not only was your champion getting the win, she looked like a killer towards the end. She looked very invincible. Like almost like getting the star in Super Mario World. Make that, Frohausen, for a graphic. But I thought Sayaka looked really dominant here, hitting the 2 spears, putting away Kyoko Furusawa. 3 and 3/4 stars. Again, I enjoyed this. I just wish it went a little bit longer, considering the match prior went about 7 minutes longer than this one. Ultimately, though, buddy, this was a great Korakuen Hall show. It hit a lot of beats, built up to a lot of stuff. Excited for Kikyo versus Shuri. I'm excited for this makeshift tag team of Fuwa-chan versus Soriano, because I think they'll play it really well. The fact that like Soriano like cracked a little bit, like usually she's ever so stoic, and again she's across the ring from Saya Kamitani, and this match hit all the beats as well. I'm really looking forward to the show this weekend. Ultimately, this Korakuen show from start to finish was, to the shock of nobody, yet another great Stardom show.
Well, speaking of that pay-per-view, let's delve into the matches. Now, obviously, when I did the graphics, you are going to have to bear with me. The match was still, the Goddesses card was still on this card. So I've had to change it up somewhat. We are obviously going to be starting with that 3-way Rian versus Waka versus Matoi, which we already saw a brief run through of at Korakuen Hall. It looks like, as I'm just looking at the current, where are we with there? Looking at the current running order of the pay-per-view. Now, again, obviously this is subject to change. I believe that this match will be the pre-show match. Yeah, 0-hour match. So Waka versus Rian versus Matoi, and then Shiori versus Kyoko Katatsu will also be on the pre-show as well. What are your thoughts in terms of who's going to win this match, and why is it Rian?
You figured it would be Rian, but Rob, I'm going to be a little bit different here. I'm going to bet with my heart, even though I love all 3 of these wrestlers. I'm going to say
Waka.
I'm going to go Waka.
I knew it.
It's easy to just be like, hey, let's copy and paste and we'll have Rian win again, because obviously we're building towards Rian and something. I don't know what it is, but I'm all here for it. Rian was a breakout performer in last year's 5-star Grand Prix. Why the hell not Waka? And ultimately, no disrespect, not many people are going to be remembering this match. And it's going to be good when it happens, but all the other great stuff that's going to happen, give Waka a win, get the people going. Everybody loves Waka. So I'm going to say Waka. I'll be betting $0 on it.
It gets the people going. So just having, obviously I haven't got a graphic for this, but I might as well throw to this match now. Obviously, Emma has been inserted into the tag match. Emma and Azumi versus Hazuki and Koguma. I think we've both got Hazuki and Koguma winning that now that we know that it's not for the titles.
Yeah, and then you're putting more steam on that match. And after the match, maybe Azumi holds the belts up in FWC's face, and they're kind of, regardless, we beat you here. So I think that's an easy prediction and the smart way to go, because they got to be running that back once Miyu's fit. So, yeah, that might be the lock of the night, Rob. I'm going to say FWC picks up the win there. I feel way more confident on that one than I do betting with Waka. And considering that Hazuki has my heart, I am betting my heart on that one, but a little bit my brain as well.
Interesting stat, by the way, about Hazuki and Azumi. Nobody in the active Stardom roster has won as many tag matches as Azumi and Hazuki. They are both tied on 110 wins, which means that whoever wins becomes the most successful on the roster in terms of tag matches. There you go. Pointless little stat from me.
There you go, buddy. So that's for more than just the win. It's to be placed up higher.
Exactly. For one match, anyway. For one match. Shiori versus Kyoko Kotatsu. I'm a big fan of this because I don't feel like Kyoko Kotatsu gets enough of a spotlight, especially in God's Eye, where she's like, what, 8th in the pecking order, maybe 7th. She's certainly behind Shiori, Tomoka Inaba, Lady C, Amisori, Hina, and Ronnie Yagami. So yeah, she's behind everyone, bless her. But it's nice that she's going to get 6-7 minutes against one of the best wrestlers on the roster, a chance to really show herself, to really prove herself to the leader of God's Eye before she gets absolutely obliterated.
You know, we always say Sherry's probably the most real wrestler, with the exception of probably Shayna Baszler, the most like legit women's wrestler going. And when this is a crazy stat, Rob. Only one of these wrestlers have participated in a blood sport, and it's not the wrestler that has.
It's not Shuri.
It's not Shuri. It's not Shuri. Yeah, that's the first time I seen Kota Kotatsu. I believe it was against Konami in Sumo Hall for the blood sport.
Maya Fukuda. She was going by them.
Yeah, and again trained by Tamura from one of Billy Robinson's star students. Anywho, this is going to be great. Kicks galore. This is one I'd love for this to go 14, 15 minutes. I know it's not, but at the same time, it goes 5 or 6 minutes. That's all that it needs. And you can always see a really good fight in 5 or 6 minutes. Go watch in Strikeforce, Paul Daly versus Nick Diaz. It goes like 4.5 minutes. One of the greatest fights you ever see. I think it's going to get here. I think the under-over on the kicks is going to be 10. If you want to maybe put that, Rob, on your stats.
Maybe, yeah. I might well do, yes. Well, we've lost a prediction, really, with the Goddess's belt. So I'll add that. Over and under. So what do we say? Over and under 10?
Let's go 10. Let's go 10.
Okay. Oh, it means we've got to count the kicks in the show.
let's do 10.5. So this way, because if it hits 10, it's a push. So let's do a half. Let's do 10.5.
All right.
No, okay. because if it goes at 10 kicks, then you get it's a push. So I think you do 10.5. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Okay. So there you go.
But I'll be the official kick counter on that one. I'll have what counts and what doesn't.
Appreciate you, brother.
There you go. I got you. Shiri wins this one, but man, I'm so excited for Kota Kotatsu to really get over in this match.
I love that you said that Hazuki and Koguma versus Azumi and MMI Shima was the lock of the night. No, sir. This is the lock of... If Kyoko Kotatsu pins the IWGP Women's Champion...
and the pre-show.
On the pre-show. In 7 minutes as well, just definitively. I think it'll be time for us to just pack it in because we've clearly misread this situation entirely. Exactly. Someone's going to come up. Have you not been watching all of the stuff that Kyoko Kotatsu's been doing? She's got a really
cute dog.
She's got a really cute dog. Moving on, then, we have got the tag match, Soriano and Fuwa-chan, the odd pairing against Saya Kamitani and Ruaka. It is so weird seeing Saya Kamitani this far down the pay-per-view card. But again, even though Ruaka screams pin eater in this match, no offense, Ruaka, I think this might be where we differ because I am going to go with hate. I think Saya Kamitani is probably going to pin Fuwa-chan.
If you do that, then this little story that you've started with Soriano and Fuwa-chan is now dead in the water. So this is an easy one for me to predict. I think Fuwa-chan's going to either get the Shining Wizard or the Hazuki strap, or Rob. Oh, can you imagine Fuwa-chan pins Ruaka with the Tom drop?
Wow, learns from a partner. Can you imagine if Fuwa-chan pins Saya Kamitani and just destroys Saya Kamitani in 5 minutes, and we're like, Sure, why
Then
not?
she does the gimmick where she like kicks the dirt on her afterwards.
Absolutely.
What are we doing?
Like Megan Bain does.
Yeah, like what are we doing with the biggest star in Joshi in the last 25 years? We're just burying her. No, I think this is an easy decision just because, again, the story that they've been building with Soriano and Fuachan, I think that they get the win here with Fuachan pinning Ruaka. So that is my prediction. So
I don't necessarily mind if they lose because, again, they can just be, oh, well, they can't function as a team, so they need to feud. I don't necessarily mind that. Three-way, Sayarina versus Hanako versus Xena. I think you can make a case for all three of these women. I'd like to see Xena win it because, again, Xena's great, but I think Hanako, for me, is probably the sure bet simply because Stardom are huge on Hanako. She's been put into prevalent positions. I think she probably deserves the victory after having Flowers stapled to her head at the last pay-per-view. A nice cheeky victory here in a three-way on a pay-per-view might be a nice way to go. Do you know what? Thank you for having all that flora stapled to your person.
I agree, but basically pretty much word for word what you said. They're really big on Hanako. I think she gets a win here. Again, there's gonna be a lot of chops thrown on this one, buddy, especially with Saida and Xena. This can be hard hitting. Usually the three ways we see are more kind of high speed because it's kind of boom, 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 boom. That's kind of what you want. Where this can be boom, boom, boom with forearms and kicks and chops and lariats. This is gonna be a really fun one. To get another match right up my alley. But I got Hanako getting the win, and I think Xena is gonna be the one looking at the lights.
Artist of Stardom #1 contendership match. Only two people in this match have held the Artist of Stardom belts before, Matt. Can you guess who they are?
Well, I know it's Natsupoi with my
Natsupoi's won it 3 times.
Okay. So now, how many other people won? One other person.
One more.
Huh? Was it Ami Sori?
It was. I completely forgot that Ami Sori had won it. She won it with Shiori and Mirai.
That's right. Yes, the original God's Eye. Wow. Because I was like, looking, did Rena? And then I was like, I and Yuna didn't win it, but they had that great challenge where it was basically New Cosmic Angels versus the Work Rate Angels.
Yeah.
But obviously, Natsupoi, one of the best. One of the best. You think about like Natsupoi, one of the best singles wrestlers in Star in the last 4 or 5 years. Her and Soripoi with Soriano, one of the most consistent tag teams in all of wrestling. And look at the Artists of Stardom championships she's had, whether it was Restart, whether it was My Himipoi, or whether it was the Work Rate Angels. Like, what a special talent Natsupoi is. Really, she should have punched Calvin Newman in the face. Anywho.
Absolutely. Who's he think he is?
This is going to be, this whole card is great. Like, it's not stacked like one of the Queendom shows or one of those like big final nights of the 5-star Grand Prix.
In terms of B-level pay-per-views, though,
Work Rate, this is going to be great. There's going to be so much fun wrestling. I'm so excited for Saturday. There's so much great shows. And Amber's throwing me a birthday party. Chicken parm for all. Excited, buddy. Yes, I'll fax you over a piece.
Please do.
Or I'll get on your pager. Anywho,
that's absolutely how fax works. Absolutely how fax works.
Bizarro world. We talked about this quite a bit in this hour and a half show. I'm not going to dilly-dally anymore. I think this is another easy one to predict. I think God's Eye get the win, and I think it's poor Akira is going to be in the falls.
Yeah, 100%. 100% Akira's in this match to take the pin. It's such a shame. But it wouldn't surprise me if Lady C gets the win. And I love seeing #1 contendership matches on pay-per-views. It makes them feel important.
Makes the belt feel important and the match
really
feel
does.
Important. Yep,
exactly.
Buddy.
More of this. Rana and Kikyo for Furusawa. I think this is another one that's relatively easy to predict. The first singles match between the two of them, and Kikyo Furusawa's 2026 records only 1-6. Though she did finish runner-up in that in the Rookie of Stardom tournament. I can't see Rana dropping it to Kikyo.
No, I think Rana gets the win here. Again, this will be really good because we've seen Kikyo really going after the leg of Rana. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot of counter wrestling from Kikyo with the kicks and the ankle lock, which I think will tell a really good story. And I know you like limb work. So I think that's what's going to go to. But I think it'll eventually just be Rana. Too many kicks, the beat buster, but Rana getting the win. And what should be a really, really competitive match.
I think this match here, the 4-way #1 contendership match for the World of Stardom Championship, is going to be fantastic, obviously. But I know that's a fairly obvious thing to say, but I think this is legitimately the hardest match to call
100%.
On the pay-per-view. I think you can make a case for all 4 women. It's interesting to look back and see actually when each one of them was last in the red belt picture. I don't see it being Tora. There is the argument, of course, because there is the story between Sayaka Kurara and Natsuko Tora. I think a lot of it depends on whether you think Sayaka Kurara is going to have a long reign with the red belt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And I think there is every chance, and again, I don't mean this to sound disrespectful to Sayaka Kurara. I think there's every chance she drops it before the 5-star Grand Prix. I think she could drop it at the conversion. I think if she drops it before the 5-star, with who I have in mind winning the 5-star Grand Prix, I think it's Maika. I think Maika wins. I think Maika dethrones Sayaka Kurara at the conversion. I think Saya Kamitani wins the 5-star, and then we get Maika versus Saya Kamitani.
I think you're on beats there, buddy. I'm going to say Tora wins, but again, this is tricky. If it's anybody else other than Tora, the winner of this is winning the red belt. I just think maybe they want to pad out Kurara's run a little bit longer because I can see Tora. And I think we talked about this last week or the week before, where they do Tora versus Sayaka Kurara, and then you get the big Bruhal brawl that we always see with Cosmic Angels and Hate, and eventually that leads to Kurara hitting 84 spears and pinning Tora, or something happens with the Mist, or Ruaka with the Crate, or Momo Watanabe. Still have no idea why Momo Watanabe's in Hate, because she hits these people in Hate all the time. Momo comes
worst shot, man. Worst shot.
She's still injured, and she kind of cost Kamitani the belt. Like, you're not even active. You're injured. What's going on?
Don't even go here.
She doesn't even go here. So maybe that's what happens where Momo kicks Tora. Again, that's if Tora. I'm going to say Tora wins, but this is tricky. I'm going to say Tora, Maika, Starlight Kid, and then Suzu, because I think if it's Kid or Maika, they take the belt. Very much how you said with Maika winning and then winning the belt. I think you can pretty much do the same thing with Kid as champion with Kamitani chase. I think it works either way. It works either way. No fan of Stardom is going to say no to either one of those. I totally agree with Kamitani winning the 5-star, not less to bring the Utami thing in there. Again, we'll be here till next week. Another story for another day. We'll see how it plays out. I think Suzu has the least amount of chance winning here, which probably means Suzu will win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if Suzu wins, I don't see Sayaka Kurara credible enough to beat Suzu Suzuki, but I don't think they're all in on Suzu Suzuki just because of, I hate to say it, I love Suzu Suzuki I love Suzu, but she misses shows because of injury. And I think it's because of the hard-hitting style, and she's not 100% reliable. And you need somebody that's going to be 100% reliable. So I don't see Suzu winning, because it's just like, what do you do? Because if Suzu does win, I think she should win the title, but I don't think that she's there yet, where we know Kid and Maika clearly are, and Tora's been there before. So I see your point with Maika. If Maika or Starlight Kid wins this, as soon as it's 1, 2, 3 or tap out and it's Maika or Starlight Kid, I'm like, there's your next champion. But I think it's going to be Tora, because I'm not sure what they're doing with Sayaka Kurara just yet. So I totally agree. This is the hardest one to predict. This is interesting. I believe this is one fall. This isn't ECW elimination style, correct?
No, it's one fall. And I think the fact that it's a 4-way, and therefore you've got the sort of disqualification element taken away from it, I think that certainly lends itself to a Tora victory.
How crazy it's going to be, though. Suzu, no rules. Maika, she thrives as well.
True, yeah.
Tora as well. And then Starlight Kid, she's known to get down and dirty as well. Like, this is going to be wild. This could steal the show.
She's really close with El Desperado. So
that's right. Yeah, that's right. This is going to be wild. I'm going to say Tora wins by pinning Starlight Kid, but I mean, this is a tough one. But I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be terrific.
Again, Kid, the most recent in terms of red belt matches, so I'd be surprised if it's Kid. I genuinely don't see Sayaka Kurara beating any of these 4 women, even though she technically has a singles victory over Tora. I just don't see it. And I think the match against Maki Ito is going to go a long way to sort of cementing her as a champion on a lot of people's eyes. Hannon and B. Priestley, I think this one is fairly simple. B. Priestley's turn, the execution didn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. Ultimately, her turning to Hate is a better fit for her anyway. But I think Hannon wins here. I would say that this is 95% Hannon wins.
Really? No, I agree.
Good.
Again, the way this match has been built has been terrific. I think I know this match is going to be great. I'm a massive fan of B. Priestley. We're getting more aggression out of her since the heel turn, and rightfully so. Hanan is a very good white meat underneath babyface. I think this match is going to get over. I think this match is going to be terrific, but I totally agree. Hanan picking up the win over one B. Priestley.
Sayaka Kurara and Maki Ito then in your main event for the World of Stardom Championship. Sayaka Kurara wins. I just want to remind you, and I know I keep banging on about this, but I still cannot get my head around this. Sayaka Kurara's singles record overall, 16 wins, 24 losses. She has only won 16 singles matches and is holding the top prize in Stardom. It boggles my mind. The story makes sense. The match was phenomenal. I don't see it. I still, on all these tour shows, on the Korakuen shows, I don't see it. And obviously, we haven't seen her have a match as champion, and I'm sure that this match will be very good. I'm sure her and Maki will do very, very well in the ring together. There's just something that, I don't know, it's stopping me. And again, I'm sure that other people see it. I just don't.
You look at the 15-year history of that belt. And this belt has not been hot potato. There's not many champions in the 15-year history. She's the biggest underdog, right? That's held this belt. Like Nanai, Io, Alpha Female. I know Alpha Female had the V0, but like very much like Tora had a V0. A killer, like someone that like strikes fear. Kyrie, B. Priestley, Kagetsu. I mean, look at all these. Obviously, Mayu. All killers, great wrestlers. Tam, Julia, Micah, Shuri, Utami, Saya Kamitani. I think I went through everybody. Like I pretty much named just about every champion. But of course, I had to throw Tam in there because Tam comes off. Tam is a very hard hitter, and someone that you obviously, when she won the belt, you're like, yeah, because she's a championship material. Mm-hmm. You're right. It's just really weird that I'm looking at this graphic. And again, she's been carrying herself really well as champion on these
She has
shows.
Absolutely, of course.
But she's not on that level of a Micah or a Saya Kamitani or Io back in the day, or a Mayu or a Kyrie, or I know Mako wasn't part of the roster, but again, Mako was a killer. Like Mako and probably would still beat the shit out of part of my leg. It's half the crap out of the roster since she's been retired for a year. Again, I totally agree. I think this is just something that the Stardom wanted to try. I don't see her having a long title reign. This will be a great match. My prediction, Sayaka Kurara. I don't think she's going to drop the belt to Maki Ito. But again, maybe her V2 is against the Micah, Starlight Kid, a Suzu, or a Tor, where she drops the belt there. And then I think everyone knows the end game by the end of the year is to get that belt back on Kamitani. I mean, I think that's the way they're going to go. But yeah, answer your question, but this is going to be a Sayaka Kurara V1.
If she does drop the belt to Maki Ito, she will be the shortest reigning World of Stardom champion ever, at less than 30 days. However, if she retains, she will surpass Natsuko Tora at the very, very least, maybe in Alpha Female in terms of the rankings. So again, I'd be very surprised if she loses, but there we are. Now, Matt, obviously, before we go and before I let you go off to your birthday, we have a birthday Stardom Tenable for you. Now, for those who didn't see this on the Marigold Standard, Tenable is where there are 10 answers. Matt needs to guess the 10 answers. He's got 3 lives to do so. And your theme today is most career wins in Stardom. So, Matt, there is your pyramid. You have got 10 people to get in order, and we will see how you do. So, whenever you're ready, good sir.
So, this is in the 15-year history of Stardom. This is most
career victories. So that singles matches, tag matches, 3-ways, all that good stuff.
All right, Waka. No, I'm just no.
It's a bold call.
We're having a little fun here. Mayu.
Okay, so number 1. Don't know why it's not coming up, but there we go. Mayu is number 1, 480 Stardom victories.
Momo Watanabe.
With 417, Momo Watanabe is at number 2.
I'm going to go with Shuri.
Yuri is, let me just double check. She is on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At number 6 with 341, Yuri.
I'm going to throw this out. This might be tough because she was only in Stardom for the first handful of years. But what about Io?
Io Shirai is not on the list.
Ooh.
230 victories. So you've lost your first life, Matt.
Saya Kamitani.
Saya Kamitani is number 12 with
What?
281. Yeah,
Oof.
I know. So you're now on to your last life.
Ooh, I knew
I know.
Utami Hayashishita.
Utami Hayashishita has only got 225 overall victories. So actually got less than Io. Now, it is your birthday, so I will give you another life. Think about tenure. About who's been in the company the longest.
Saki Kashima's got to be in there too, right?
Saki Kashima with 340 victories, just one less than Shuri. She's at number 7.
Let's go with Tam Nakano.
Right, now, I will give you Tam because she is joint 10th with Konami on 296. So I will give you that, even though I've got Konami on the screen.
I'm gonna throw just because she's done pretty well in the 5 stars in the tournaments.
I'm just gonna stop you there before you guess. Think about who's been in the company the longest.
I said Mayu, Momo.
Mm-hmm.
I said Shuri.
Yep.
Who's been in the company the longest? Is it Nanai? No, it won't be Nanai. Nanai, I'm gonna take Nanai off the table.
Yeah, correct choice. Correct choice, my friend. Still on the active roster. All of the women that you have got left are still on the active roster.
Okay, Micah.
At number 8, with 338 victories, Micah. So you've got 3, 4, 5, and 9 left.
With only one shot here. Okay.
With only one shot.
I'm gonna take a stab just because. Oh, let's go with Hazuki.
At number 5.
Yes.
With 373 Stardom victories, it is Hazuki. Now, I will 3 and 4. I'm amazed you haven't got already. Number 9 to look.
Zumi.
At number 3 with 408 victories, we have got Azumi. Can you get number 4?
Starlight Kid.
With 386 victories at number 4 is Starlight Kid. One shot, one last chance, Matt Turner. Who are you going to plump for?
All right, there's 3 names in my mind right now.
Okay. You might as well tell us who the 3 names are. I'm not going to help you, but who are the 3 names?
All right, I know who I'm going to pick, so I'll tell you who the 2 I'm not going to pick are.
Okay.
So Poi, Ida, but I got to go. Are you ready? Yeah, Tannen, because she's been there since she was 11, like Azumi.
She has been there since she was 11, and that would be a good shout. However, she did spend a lot of her time early on the roster losing. So unfortunately, Matt Turner, you have lost your last life. But if it's any consolation, your others weren't right either. So you would have lost it anyway.
Look at that.
just to kick you while you're down.
Okay,
there.
it's all right.
Number 9, this surprised me, to be fair. Number 9 is Natsuko Tora.
Oh, right, because she's been there a while.
337 victories. So just on the outside, Natsupoi was your closest one. She was 13th on the list with 261 victories. So there you go, Matt. I thought it'd be a nice little way to spend your birthday there. But before we go, ladies and gentlemen, it would be rude, wouldn't it, to not talk about the lady who has recently announced her marriage to perhaps the sexiest man in the world.
No, not me, buddy. No, she didn't marry me.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Second sex. The former evil of New Japan, I believe he's called Naraku now, which is Japanese for abyss. He will always be evil. Yeah, absolutely. But absolutely huge congratulations to them both. The wedding photos are absolutely lovely, apart from the one where Io is pinning Evil, which I really thought that was quite funny. But yeah, really, really lovely for them, Matt.
Yeah. So obviously we did not have a Stardom Cast last week because they were no show. So figured for my birthday edition, not one but two must-see Io matches from this past week. I'm kind of just going to go through the beats real quick. So we go to Backlash, Io versus Asuka. I mean, just what a great match. We start out with some great big lockups, some chain wrestling, really great stuff back and forth. Io's using her speed and quickness on Asuka. Asuka eventually takes Io's head and rams it to the post, building up some heat on from Asuka to Io. Io comes back with the Quesadora double stomp and then some Showtime palm strikes and follows up with the Joshi dropkick. Asuka comes back with a spinning back fist and a sliding knee and then locking Io in the anchor. Very interesting, Rob, considering the fact this match started out with "We Want Kyrie" chants, and then we get almost again the version of the anchor and the cutlass in sequences from Asuka, which I thought was really cool. Asuka with Io hits a German suplex for a 2 count. When Asuka kicks out, she grabs Io's arm and locks her right into the double wrist lock, which both Corey Graves and Michael Cole said that's the Asuka lock. Like, no, that's a double wrist lock. Do your homework, folks. You guys are making millions. Anywho, Asuka winds up using the armbar to roll into the Asuka lock, which is her version of the crossface chicken wing. Io escapes that with the Stone Cold Stunner. So is she watching her Stone Cold tapes or her Rian tapes, Rob? I'll let you folks be the judge of that. Io hits a top rope Hurricanrana, and then we have that sends Asuka to the floor. We get our Io goes for the suicide dive. Asuka blocks that. We get a fight on top of the commentator's table. This is a really cool spot. Asuka goes for the miss, but Io grabs Corey Graves' notebook and blocks the miss, which I thought was really terrific stuff. Io gets the advantage on Asuka, hits the Asuka moonsault to the floor. Back and forth we go with Io and Asuka here. We get some German suplexes exchange, we get some submission exchange. Eventually, Io hits a German suplex, head kick, the bullet train, and the moonsault for the 3 count. I had this at 4 3/4 stars. I thought it was great, and it looked like this kind of storybook ends Asuka's run, at least for now, in WWE. From what we understand, again, rumors are going to be what they are, is that Asuka's going back to Japan to take care of some personal business. So again, we hope whatever Asuka does, whether she does freelance stuff in Japan or she goes back to WWE, we hope that she's happy because boy, howdy, what a run for the Empress of Tomorrow. What a great match if this is her last match or her last match for some time. What a great match for her to go out. Phenomenal match with Io. Again, 4 3/4 stars, and it was actually number 1 on my favorite matches from this past week. And speaking of another great match, we go to last week's Monday Night Raw because as we're filming today, it's Tuesday. I believe Io and Evil are on their honeymoon, so no Io on TV this week. However, last week, Io and Sol Roca. Rob, did you see this?
I did see parts of it. I haven't seen all of it, though.
This was great. We get a big lockup to start. Great chain wrestling between the two. We get Sol Ruka hits a boot that sends Io to the floor. Sol Ruka then jumps on the apron and then goes to vault off the post to do a moonsault. Io gets out of the way. Sol Ruka eats the floor. Io then does the Ase moonsault. Sol Ruka comes back in the ring, hits a baseball slide, sending Io back out to the floor, and does this slingshot twisting press. Sol Ruka is a phenomenal athlete. I believe they said she was a gymnast at the University of Oregon. So again, shout out to Michael Cole and Corey Graves for that. They know the background. They just don't know their submission wrestling. That's okay, Rob. None of us are perfect. Io with the Joshi dropkick for a 2 count. Io goes for the bullet train, misses there. We get Sol Ruka then hits all these crazy different styles of handstands and satellite head scissors, which I thought was great. Sol Ruka goes for a German suplex, but very much like back in the 90s, how you can't powerbomb Kidman. Remember that, Rob? You just can't powerbomb Kidman because he hit with the X Factor. You can't German suplex Io because she counters with a Quesadora double stomp. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Sol Ruka blocks the moonsault and then does this crazy cartwheel off the ropes DDT, which again, what a great athlete Sol is. And Io knew where to put Sol's spot to make her look really good. And Sol looks like she's just getting ready to put Io away with the Soul Snatcher. But Io, using that veteran ability, catches Sol Ruka in a crucifix pin for the 3 count. This was great. 4 1/4 stars. I saw some people like, they're burying Sol Ruka on the main roster. It was like, she just had an instant classic with the best wrestler, the biggest wrestling company. This was terrific. Io didn't have an emphatic win. She had to use a roll-up off the Soul Snatch. And then after the match, Io shook Sol's hand and raised it. So it's like clearly, again, wrestling's the greatest one.
The rub was great for the match.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the fact that you understand wrestling. Even though we suck at predictions, I think that between me and you, yes, consistently. But again, we do it with pizzazz. Again, 4.25 stars. Io just proving that she is one of, if not the best wrestler on the planet. I mean, it's so tricky to see who's the best wrestler in the world right now. Sari, Will Ospreay, Takeshita, Darby Allin. You got to throw his name out there. Obviously, Kamitani, Azumi Star. Like, I mean, it's the fact that you can have that conversation with like 15 people who's the best pound per pound wrestler in the world just goes to show you how great professional wrestling is around the world. Another reason why, Rob Goodwin, tribalism, in my opinion, is stupid. Watch it all. Enjoy it all. This was great. Io, mwah. It's always a pleasure seeing you do your thing. And again, thanks to Darren Chatton for giving me all the time cues. As I don't know if his team is still doing better than yours. He didn't tell me. I didn't ask.
We just don't need to talk about it.
No problem.
No, it's fine.
EO.
There you go. We're all on Team EO. That's the main thing.
We're all winners.
Exactly. I'd forgotten what being a winner actually feels like, Matt, I'll be perfectly honest. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of our episode this week. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a like or a review. A 5-star review really helps us out. It's a completely free way to support the podcast. Patreon.com/World of Joshi for a whole host of bonus content, as well as access to a whole host of other things we have got in the pipeline as well. And don't forget as well, Predictions League will be live for Queen's Dynasty and for the Shine Forever show from Marigold as well. Fans on social media at WOJ Wrestling. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Matt Turner, happy birthday. Stuff yourself full of Italian cuisine. You've deserved it. You've deserved it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Matt Turner is going to sign us off. Good sir, please do.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner LF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email, matt@worldofjoshi.com, as well as the Stardom Cast 22 at gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me and Rob have. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.